talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Good afternoon. Breaking news. Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is going to happen. It's been confirmed December the 19th in Miami. We'll have more on that story as the afternoon develops, of course. In the football, it's still the international break. So Jude Bellingham is still the talk of the town, but talkSPORT's Martin Keown says Thomas Tuchel is also trying to teach Jed Spence a lesson on standards.
I think maybe he's messaging him in a slightly different way because of the Thomas Frank situation. Maybe he's not happy with him on the bench in everyone's ear, doesn't look focused, doesn't look concentrated, so he hasn't featured in the last two games. He's got immense talent, but this manager is saying, hold on, behaviour just needs to be adjusted.
Tuchel has said he didn't like how Spence and Van de Ven treated Thomas Frank post-Chelsea and that players need to behave like England players all year round. What about England's demolition of the All Blacks at Twickenham? It was a demonstration, and Lawrence Dallaglio says the composure to dominate New Zealand, having gone 12-0 down, shouldn't be underestimated.
Can you imagine England football going 2-0 down to Spain and then coming back and winning 5-2? You know, that is the sort of level of calmness that they showed, and I think that is a good sign. There's genuine belief, because this isn't just a team that have got belief. They've actually turning that belief into results on the pitch as well.
Meanwhile, it's been revealed the England team will have to travel more than 17,500 miles for next summer's Nations Championships. They'll go to South Africa and Argentina for the new competition. Ireland have a trip to New Zealand and Japan in July. talkSPORT's boxing expert Gareth A. Davis thinks Chris Eubank Jr. should retire after defeat to Conor Benn in their rematch. Benn's now after a world title, of course, and ahead of the Ashes, Pat Cummins won't be ready for Friday's first test in Perth, but he did take part in a training session today in the nets. His replacement, Scott Boland, meanwhile, admits that Joe Root is in their heads. Rent-free? We shall see.
Obviously, England have got quite a few good batters that will be looking to do that too, but hopefully we can keep Joe Root and the guys through the middle order pretty quiet.
A Perth tabloid dubbed Root Average Joe ahead of the first test on Friday. For all your Ashes content, subscribe to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and the following on podcast feed.
talkSPORT News.
The government's going to overhaul human rights laws to make it easier to deport illegal migrants, and all files relating to Jeffrey Epstein could be released soon after Donald Trump changed his stance on their publication. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Rain or shine, our mobile tyre fitting service comes to you, so you can stay on the sofa this winter. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
A mostly dry day with lots of sunshine, but cold, especially in the east. Showers in the far north and North Sea coasts.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT Wear this afternoon. Please tell us, Andy, what's coming?
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, Troy Deeney gives us his take on England's win over Albania. Danny Kelly no doubt joins us live from the newly named Troy Parrott Airport.
Yes.
And Phil the Power Taylor tells Luke Littler the secret at staying at number one.
Andy Jacobs tells us how he fared monitoring text topic on other radio stations. That's a bit weird. And Steve Harmison pops in as Aussie's Dad's Army continues to creak ahead of Friday's Ashes.
It's all this, plus we'll wonder what next for Ben and Eubank, and we'll ask our Euro expert whether Portugal should leave Cristiano out of their World Cup squad. I'm not going to do that, are they? Let's be honest.
Probably not. I still think that presidential pardon is coming from Gianni Infantino. That will be the final nail in his coffin if he does that. But you could just see it, couldn't you? You just see him saying, well, everybody wants to see Cristiano at the World Cup.
Oh, yes.
Was it that bad? It wasn't really violent conduct.
Oh, no.
So we'll just give him one game. And he missed that the other day. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll ask Andy Brassel about that later. It is 6 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy. A very depressing bit of boxing news has just come in. I don't know how everybody feels about this. We're going to get some reaction to it shortly.
Grim.
We heard Eddie Hearn chatting about it earlier on Jim and Simon's show. Anthony Joshua Jake Paul has been confirmed. It's going to take place in Miami on December the 19th.
Because Jake Paul is one of the most annoying people on earth, the fight will sell because everybody wants to see him get beaten. So far, he's always done all right in these fights, but he's always stacked it in his favour.
You might want to really good hiding. Now, from Anthony Joshua's point of view, we're being told, aren't we, that next year he's going to fight Tyson Fury, which is fine. How is this any kind of warm-up? Because if he goes flat out...
I think you measure it in pound signs.
Well, I know, but if he goes flat out in a fight like this, he could do the guy real harm, and he doesn't want to do that. The optics of that, not good. I mean, Jake Paul's sailed far closer to the sun with each fight he's done, but this is ridiculous. I mean, Anthony Joshua, I don't know, what signal does that send? I mean, I know it's a lot of money. To paraphrase Conor Benn the other day, how much money do you need? I mean, he could make a lot of money fighting in front of 100,000 people at Wembley against Tyson Fury.
But Fury doesn't want the fight, does he? So, you know.
But I don't know. I think it's bad. It's a bad look for boxing. We're going to have a chat with John Rawlin later on. Who I could be wrong. I'm sensing John won't be a massive fan either.
Nobody who loves boxing will like this, but that's not. It's not aimed at that. It's aimed at a different
Look
audience.
at the optics of it. Look at the safety aspects of it. I mean, he either goes in soft and it's a waste of everybody's time because he doesn't go flat, or he goes flat out and could put the bloke in hospital. And what's the upside of that?
In the words of Pugas, I've got one thing to say to Jake Paul.
Good luck. Yeah. Interested to hear from you.
Yesterday. Really clean.
Really interested to hear from you today. What do you make of this fight now it's happening? What if you are someone who loves boxing? Let us know what you make of it. Okay, was it how much they say he's going to get 70 million quid or something? I don't know. But do let us know. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 889, tweet to TSH&J. Makes it very difficult for boxing to take the moral high ground ever when you put a fight like this on. And, you know, when people do find themselves hospitalised or worse, we get all this, it's a terrible story and thoughts and prayers. Yet you're prepared to let a fight like this go ahead. Staggering, really.
Well, there's an audience for it. That's why it wouldn't happen. If
but there's audience for cockfighting. Doesn't make it right. There's an audience for bear baiting. It doesn't make it right. Not that I'm comparing that, but you know what I mean. There's an audience.
Isn't right.
It's audience for.
It's bleak. But,
audience for a lot of things you wouldn't want to go and watch.
Doesn't stop it though.
Talksport.com. Text 81089. Tweet TSH and J 03717223344. We'll get reaction to that. Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. December the 9th. Can't wait, as Alan would say. Can't wait.
Oh, I definitely can wait. I was surprised to hear the Albanian national anthem yesterday.
Were you? What, at a match between England and Albania?
No, I thought it was Don't Laugh at Me, I'm a Fool by Norman Wisdom.
Well, the listeners on two levels may not know Norman Wisdom is. He was a famous old comedian of the 60s and 70s and his youth.
Oh, yes.
He was very funny. Is there any equivalent of Norman Wisdom now? Is there anybody who...
What, to the modern Norman Wisdom?
Who's the new Norman Wisdom? 03 no, I'm only kidding. No. There's no one who quite did like... He'd do comedy pratfalls. He was a film star.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they loved him in Albania.
They loved his films.
Yeah.
Mr. Pitkin, the character that he played.
Podger, not the footballer, the president. He loved him, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was fainting. Every time he went to Albania, there'd be millions of people on the street.
I know. When we went to see England-Albania at St James's Park, Norman came on the pitch.
That's right.
He gave himself a penalty, did his famous trip.
He did.
Brilliant.
He did
tripping himself up.
Well, I once saw him when I was working at the BBC
how much
on the
of an
old
act does it really?
comedy corridor in Langham Place at the BBC. Yeah. He went down. I saw him go past our window of our office. Yeah. He was meeting a famous old producer from the Beeb that he'd known for years.
Yeah.
And he went down the corridor and we popped her head out the door and we shouted, "Norman!" And he did the little pratfall, like we caught it. And he went, "Oh, well." I'll tell you who used to do an impression of him. Peter Taylor Maybe we should get Peter Taylor on, the former England and Tottenham and Palace winger. Yeah. He used to do a mean Norman was. Sorry, you are listening to talkSPORT in 2025, not in 1970.
It's relevant. He did play Albania.
Yeah, he did. They did play Albania.
He isn't a national hero in Albania. We're not bringing out about.
It was a pretty tedious first half. But I quite enjoyed the second half when it was a bit more intensity and they came out a little bit. I thought I was really impressed with them. I thought they defended very well.
Well coached.
They were good sort of one-touch players. They should have scored a couple on the break. They were good, I thought.
Yeah, they were.
Well, relatively speaking, they were pretty good. He said patronisingly.
All this stuff about Bellingham, though, I'm not happy about it.
What's that? Well, you're not happy about it?
I think it's tall poppy syndrome. They can't wait to chop him down. They're all pile on, He wasn't happy he got subbed. That's because he's an incredibly competitive player. And, he tries difficult things. Like Roy Keane made the point, He's a great player. And when it doesn't come off, England end up in trouble. There's no question about that. When he loses the ball, he does lose the ball in difficult areas. But then, he's a very, very progressive player and he does try difficult things. But I don't think it helps to sort of pick on every little move he does. No. Why don't we just celebrate that we've got one of the best players in the world without looking to pick him apart? I think it's poor.
It wasn't. I mean, look, he was obviously frustrated to go off. It became more of a thing later on because in the immediate aftermath, when he was talking to Gabriel Clark, he said, it's no big deal. Morgan wanted to start. He wasn't happy. So Jude wasn't. So then he was asked to expand on it to the written press and it becomes a bit more of a story. He says he'll have a word with him. It's never great when players are a bit petulant, but it proves he wants to play, doesn't it?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
they start saying, we didn't celebrate Kane's goal. It's not true, he did, So this nonsense comes about.
No, it's true. We don't want to, the bloke's a really good player. We don't want to suck the life out of him or his confidence. That is counterproductive. Absolutely right.
We both noticed this, but Arvo Hodger, who caught the eye.
Steve.
Yeah, exactly. His uncle played for Argentina.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, Steve Hodger.
Yeah.
I thought he was good.
He was good.
He cost... I think he plays for Zagreb, doesn't he? And he cost like a couple of €1 million.
He looks like he could play at in higher
he's
level.
Quick. His finishing was a bit off.
Yeah, he should have scored, really.
He got in good positions. He made good runs, didn't he? I could see somebody showing an interest in him at some point. Anyway, we are going to talk boxing, that news and we're going to reflect on the weekend. We brought you the big fight of the weekend. Well, it didn't really live up at all to expectations.
And Ireland, which of course was big stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have a chat with Danny Kelly as well. Troy Parrott, a man myself and Danny have always put a bit of a avuncular arm around because we always felt we should have got a bit more of a chance at Spurs, but he didn't, and maybe he's now proving that there was certainly a player there. He's gone down in Irish folklore, hasn't he? Certainly after the last week. Quite amazing. A lovely post-match interview. And he said something there, which we'll talk to Danny about it. He said something that gets to the very core of why we all love football. Doesn't matter what level we watch at, which team we support, whether it's the very bottom of the pyramid or Manchester City and teams like that. Anyway, to get in touch with someone, Dan's going to tell us later on why he's been monitoring Cool Topics on. We know he's a big fan of One on Another station where they say, "What you having for your tea?"
This is the same.
Go on then.
He said, "What's your favourite sandwich?"
Okay.
One woman rang up and went, "Oh, cheese and pickle." You think, who cares? Honestly, I don't get it. It's so lazy. It's such lazy.
The thing is, Andy, you are just poking the bear, aren't you?
I know, we're going to get it, aren't we?
Because the listeners will now inundate us with their favourite sandwich.
Yeah.
And just to annoy you today, I'm going to read them all out. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J.
Hi, Paul and Andy, bacon, lettuce and tomato.
Excuse me. What's your favourite sandwich? Anyway, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT with our good friends at Tool Station. Don't miss their unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Tool Station. Going to get some reaction from John Rawling, our boxing commentator, to the news that Anthony Joshua Jake Paul's been confirmed for December the 19th. Apparently it's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. We'll get John's thoughts in a minute. First, let's hear from Eddie Hearn. He was talking about it when he came in to chat to Jim and Simon last week. He's AJ's promoter, of course. This is what he had to say about the prospect then of the fight happening.
You're always going to get the critics. You're always going to get the people that turn their nose up. And I understand. And you're never going to hear us saying, oh, this is an amazing fight. Oh, it's good. I think AJ flattens him, right? But if you're going to we were going to run out in December in an 8-round fight randomly on an undercard. If we're going to get 50 times the money to do that against Jake Paul, mate, but I'm walking there.
I agree with you, but do you totally, by the way, do you think the integrity of boxing could become under the spotlight? I know. I'll tell you why. Because if they do get it on, every single person on this planet knows anything about boxing will say this shouldn't last more than 30 seconds. Yeah. And if it goes into round 2, it's like, well, that's not real.
Well, it's definitely real. We're going in there.
I know, but it's not right. If Jake Paul lasts more than 3 minutes with AJ, something's not right.
No, but that's impossible, Andy, because one, it's a real fight. There's no exhibition here. We don't go into a contest to play around. I've already spoke to AJ about it. I said, what are you going to do? You're going to beat him up over a period of time, or are you just going to knock him spark out? He said, I might do both.
8 3-minute rounds does feel quite exhibition-y to me.
He can carry him, can't he, you know?
That's not the point, though, is it? Anyway, let's get the thoughts of John Rawling,
edifying,
who brought you fine commentary at the weekend, Viewbank Ben. Good afternoon, John.
Hello, guys.
I don't like this, John. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, I've gone on the record with this before, saying that I'm not enthused by it one little bit. It's going to earn both guys a huge amount of money. You know, when Paul fought Mike Tyson, it was one of the biggest boxing audiences of the year, if not the biggest, and they both earned a spectacular amount of money. And this will be likewise. But I think anybody expecting a good fight, I think they're looking at the wrong thing, because it ain't going to be a good fight. If this is on the level, I think that it's a hopeless and potentially dangerous mismatch.
Yeah. That is the concern, is it? It's the optics of it, John. It's the message that it sends.
It's different.
From the, I mean, this, you know, this is supposedly a bit of a warm-up before he has a huge fight against Tyson Fury sometime next year. If he goes in all guns blazing, as Andy Goldstein was saying in that clip, it's probably over in seconds. And if he treats it as a kind of open sparring session, then what sort of value of money, what value for money people getting? What's it all about? I mean, apart from a cash grab, what's the point?
Well, I quite hope for Jake Paul's long-term well-being that he does see it as a bit of a sparring exercise and something to get a few minutes under his belt in a ring in front of a big crowd before going on to fight Tyson Fury sometime in 2026, if indeed that does happen. But you know, how can anybody who is actually into boxing possibly get excited about this prospect? I mean, don't get me wrong, even if I'm not commentating, if they don't give radio rights, and I suspect that they won't, if they give radio rights, I'll be there, I guess. If they don't give radio rights, I'll still be watching, because there is a kind of a ghoulish fascination, isn't there? But as a proper sporting contest, it's just not the real thing.
I don't know. I stayed up to watch the Tyson Jake Paul fight. It was such a waste of time. I'm definitely not watching.
I just wonder, John, as I said, when terrible things happen in the world of boxing, we're all compromised. We, we all love this sport, but we are heavily compromised by just how dangerous it is. And I just think fights like this just undermine it. They undermine those moments when terrible things do happen and everybody wrings their hands. Why send in a guy like Anthony Joshua, a seasoned pro, against a guy that, I don't know. It leaves a really nasty taste in the mouth.
It's one word, isn't it? Money. You know, if he can get whatever it may be, 20 million, 30 million, 50 million out of fighting Jake Paul, who's not even Midland area title level as a heavyweight, never mind British title level. I suppose from a business point of view, from a financial point of view, it's a no-brainer. As Eddie Hearn says, he's got to get in there. But, you know, if they'd tried to put it on in this country, I'd like to think that the British Boxing Board of Control would have said, no, you're not. We're not going to countenance that because it would be A, dangerous to Jake Paul, and B, bad for boxing and disrespectful to the sport that we all like. You know, the bottom line about these sort of events is that if you could travel back in time and go to public executions at Tyburn, there'd be a big crowd watching it.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make it right, does it?
No, exactly my argument to Andy earlier on.
Has he got zero chance, Jake Paul? Not even a 1% chance.
Not even a punt. I mean, that's the thing, John, isn't it? Some people feel that maybe AJ, you can catch AJ. Maybe there's a puncher's chance, but pretty remote one.
Well, I can't see it really, because I can't see that Paul punches hard enough to take him out with one shot. If AJ just stood there and said, "Come on, hit me," even if that were the situation, I don't believe Jake Paul could knock him out. He's a young, fit lad. He's a novice fighter. And to go in against somebody who, until recently, was recognised as the best heavyweight in the world is just ludicrous.
Maybe he should do an Errol Graham Kirtland Lang. Maybe tie his hands behind his back and see if he can land a shot on him. And I doubt him. I'd watch that. AJ with his hands tied behind his back. But beyond that, I wouldn't open my curtains to watch it. But there we are.
The Jake Paul thing, you know, he's made a spectacular amount of money, hasn't he? And you kind of respect the guy's business acumen. But let's not start believing that he's remotely close to being an elite level fighter, because he's simply not.
Let's reflect then just finally on the weekend and what we witnessed there. What's the future for both men? Maybe let's start with Conor Benn. Do you feel he's got a world title in him? Are the options out there? And if so, does he have a chance? I mean, it's very hard to tell on what we saw the other day because Chris Eubank Jr. was so well off it. Yeah, well, you know, you're spot on there. The reaction afterwards, we were talking, you know, I don't know whether we said it on air, but certainly off air, we're saying, well, yeah, Conor looked good and he's done a job. But in all honesty, he didn't beat very much because Chris Eubank Jr. looked like a shell of the fighter he once was. I think Ben will be steered on towards a world title shot because it's a very marketable option. But whether or not he's truly a world level fighter, we don't really yet know, do we? We can't judge it, I don't think, on the basis of what we saw on Saturday. I think probably the real fight was the first fight in April. This one, for whatever reason, Chris Eubank Jr. just was not at the races, and it's kind of easy to draw the conclusion that he became old in the ring. It suddenly wasn't there anymore. He went to pull the trigger, and he couldn't fire the shots. He didn't really land anything worthwhile on Conor Benn in 12 rounds. It was very nearly a complete shutout, and he came so close to getting knocked out in that final round. Just finally as well on Chris Eubank Jr., he's been hinting at the fact that he had a terrible build-up to the fight, and he tried to shut down Ben Shalom in the post-fight press conference when he was hinting at that as well. So whatever's gone on, I mean, it's obviously deeply personal. He doesn't want it to get out there, but it affected his build-up to this fight. I wonder if we'll ever find out, John, because it clearly impacted on him because he, like you say, he was a shadow of the guy he was in the first fight. Well, these things have a habit of coming out, don't they? You know, I'm sure we'll find out at some stage in the future what it's about. But he's absolutely killed himself, not literally, obviously, but he's destroyed himself physically to get down to 11.5 stone and the middleweight limit to fight Conor. It hurt him terribly. In April, he had 3 days in hospital after that fight, recovering from the dehydration. And then to fulfill the terms of the contract, which was for 2 fights, he had to get there or he'd have been in breach of contract. And presumably he could have been sued by Conor Benn, by the promoter, by whoever. So he had to get there. And despite the fact that he'd said during the week, oh, yeah, my preparations have been better than ever, the reality was, and we pretty soon found it, that when he got in the ring, he just physically hadn't got anything. And whether or not he can ever get that competitive edge back, frankly, you know, from watching it and being very, very close to it on Saturday,
I would very much doubt it. You know, it's a big thing to say a guy looked shot, but if he wasn't shot, there was something very wrong, and he just wasn't remotely at the races on Saturday night.
John, I just want to, we've had an email coming from one of the listeners. They've not put the name on it, but I'm going to run this point past you. He says, Jake Paul has been fighting only 2 years less than Fabio Wardley, who's being lined up to fight a generational great in Alexander Usyk. Granted, Jake will lose to Joshua, but he is far from a YouTuber now. He's much better than any journeyman that AJ would have fought for a warm-up fight. What's your take on that?
I'm not sure I agree. This is the guy who was beaten by Tommy Fury, who's been a long way short of championship level in this country. He's been active. He's in great shape. I don't dispute that, but he's not done anything to justify going into a ring against a former heavyweight champion of the world, albeit somebody who was badly knocked out in his last fight and is presumably psychologically damaged to a degree by the memory of that. You know, how much AJ's got left, we're not really quite sure. No. But I would be frankly staggered if he didn't have enough left to beat Jake Paul.
Good stuff, John. Pleasure to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Cheers, lads.
John Rawling there, our boxing commentator. This is more like the representative stuff, Andy. I cannot wait to see, says Bob in Cornwall, cannot wait to see Jake Paul get ironed out. It'll be the last time he gets in the ring, hopefully. Unless there is an agreement that this is more of an exhibition. Look, no one wants to see the man get hurt, but an awful lot of people want to see him sort of step away from boxing and realise you can't play at it. And he would argue he's not playing on it. I think somehow he's picked up a world ranking, but yeah. Look, keep telling us how you feel about this. talkSPORT.com, text 1889, tweet TSH and J 03717223344. The boxing continues this Saturday. 4 world titles in 4 weight divisions. A night of champions as David Monster Benavidez takes on Anthony Yard for the WBC World Light Heavyweight title, featuring Devin Haney and Bam Rodriguez. You can watch live this Saturday only on DAZN.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
For England's perfect record in World Cup qualifying, talkSPORT's chief football anchor Adrian Durham reckons Morgan Rogers is now favourite to start in the number 10 next summer.
Me personally, I would prefer Jude Bellingham to have the shirt. I think he's just a far better player. I love Morgan Rogers, hasn't done anything wrong. I think Cole Palmer's struggling to get on the plane, if I'm honest. I've thought this for a while now. He's played 64 minutes under Thomas Tuchel.
England have 2 friendlies next year before Tuchel picks his squad in May. Meanwhile, former Ireland winger Stephen Hunt's told us Sunday night in Budapest will have done wonders for the team's spirit, and he means the drinking.
The young generation of Irish players don't go out anymore, so for them to have a moment like that and celebrate success like they did last night, apparently, I've seen some videos on social media, it's good for them, like it brings them together.
Ireland are into the World Cup playoffs thanks to Troy Parrott's hat-trick in Hungary. Now we're told Middlesbrough are trying to hijack Swansea's move to appoint Kim Hellberg as their new manager. Borough have held talks with Hellberg and Raphael Wicke this week about replacing Rob Edwards. And ahead of the Ashes, Aussie bowler Scott Boland admits Joe Root is the man they need to keep quiet. Brendan Doggett's in line to make his Test debut on Friday, with Hazelwood and Cummins both out injured. Boland says Doggett has real skill.
He's like a fast outswing bowler, and he's someone who can bowl really long spells, bowls a lot of overs. When he's playing for South Australia, he tends to bowl, I don't know, he can bowl 20 or 25 in a day.
For all your Ashes content, subscribe to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and the Following On podcast.
Scales wins the header and a chance! Yeah! Oh, there's the goal! There's the goal! That's Troy Parrott! That is unbelievable! He scored a hat-trick, and right at the death, Ireland have done it! I've never seen anything like it! Absolutely remarkable! Right at the end, Hungary have been caught, they were hanging on! It seems like for the whole night, certainly when it went 2-2, this is just stunning. 3-2, the time is up. The referee has to finish the game. I've no voice left.
Yeah, what a moment for a great week for the Republic of Ireland.
Yes, amazing.
And then Troy Parrott popping up with a hat-trick and that winning goal with the last kick of the game.
They better get there now after all that.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful post-match interview as well. Joining us live now, I think, from the newly named Troy Parrott Airport is Danny Kelly. Good afternoon, Dan.
Hey, chaps, how you doing?
Yeah, you're floating, I take it, at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, I'll repeat my joke that I made last night, if you don't mind. For the second time in 6 years, I broke the Irish over-60s high jump record. The first time from a seated position was Amsterdam, Lucas Moura, etc. But last night I went even higher because... I want to say, let's be truthful about it. It's fantastic for the Republic of Ireland, but anybody who loves football, though, the circumstances of what they've done since they got 1 point from they were halfway through the campaign, they had 1 point, and then to turn it round. And of course, only football, because the unit of scoring is so rare, can leave you in this place where the Republic, in a game they had to win, only led for less than 1% of the game, but it was the critical 1% coming up to the final whistle.
Yeah. That beautiful post-match interview, and he kind of sums for a young lad when Troy Parrott says, "This is why we all love football for moments like this,
absolutely.
and whether for us it's Amsterdam, and
the interview was good too.
Whether for Andy it's winning the Champions League against Bayern Munich. Every team's got one. Jimmy Glass, all those moments, but it's true. That's what makes the game. It doesn't matter what level you watch it at. That's it in microcosm, isn't it?
Well, Paul, it's obvious that. Sorry, I don't mean to say what you're saying is obvious, but it's obvious because why would we go to a sport, pay so much money and watch so much of it when often it's disappointing or dull? Here, Andy, on the 12 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, we go because you might get that injection once a season, once a year, once every 5 years. Something happens, you go, Did I just see that? And you can feel the adrenaline coursing through your own body. Never mind the players. The post-match interview was a problem for Troy Parrott because after the game against Portugal, he said it was the best night of his life. So he'd left himself very little wiggle room for an away hat trick.
We've kind of put a virtual arm around him because we're both Spurs fans, and we always felt he deserved a bit more of a chance. And I remember there was a clamour for him to get some game time when Kane was injured under Jose. I remember Jose sort of slinging him into a match and it not quite working out, and him almost saying, "See, told you he wasn't good enough." And he never quite recovered from that, but he's gone on to have a good career, and I've always kind of kept an eye out for him. I'm sure you have as well, and I was chuffed for him last night on that level as well.
Look, footballers who get to the top of the game, and Troy is still on that journey. All of their journeys, to use that horrible Strictly Come Dancing phrase, are different. Some people get into a team at 17 and they're the fully fledged article. Others, including Harry Kane, have to go round the houses, pick up their experience at places you wouldn't normally expect them to be playing at. They find their way in the game. And Troy Parrott, I totally agree with you. He wasn't given enough chances at Spurs. Mourinho treated him, I thought, poorly by chucking him in there when he didn't need to be. But who's to say, Paul, that not getting a chance at Spurs and being forced to go abroad to play hasn't been the making of the lad.
Sure.
So we can mourn the fact he didn't get a chance in the white shirt, but it may, for those of us who sport the green shirt as well, it may have been the making of him,
as Andy said, you've got to go one better. When you've had a high like this, you've got a few months to regroup. But
do we know who they might play? Are the possibilities or?
Well, it's complicated, Andy, because of the games that are still to be played. What I will say is that hopefully Scotland will beat Denmark, but if they don't, there's a good chance that all four of the Celtic teams from these islands will be in the playoffs, and so they're bound to run into each other pretty quickly. I don't know is the answer, Andy, because we don't even know definitively which pot the Republic are going to be in because of the results still to come in.
I mean, possibly imagine that Northern Ireland versus the Republic in a playoff final, Danny.
As the teams are currently lined up, that's got a 3-1 chance of being the semi-final.
Yeah.
I don't know whether FIFA would want to heat the balls or not for that. I don't know whether it's a good idea or a terrible idea.
So, what is the mood? We heard the RTE commentary there. We heard all the interviews afterwards. So what is the feeling? I'm sure you've been sort of chatting to brother John and family and friends. What's the mood there?
Well, look, first of all, the mood is truthfully just to let's celebrate this before we start getting into the fact that, we won't be one of the stronger teams in the playoffs. But as we saw, it wasn't just the Republic of Ireland that draw that Denmark could only get in their game shows that in one-off games, this is why the football is the greatest game on earth. Anything can happen, though they have to repeat it twice. Look, come March, who knows who'll be in and out of form. Evan Ferguson may be back, which presents a problem because, it's Troy Parrott might not have been starting if Evan Ferguson had been fit. I guess, Paul, when we talked about this the other day after the Portugal game, and I said I'm optimistic because what's the point of being anything else? I have to say that was stretched quite thin in the 95th minute of the game. I'm not going to lie. And then Quevin belted that ball forward. And, of course, for those of a certain vintage, it was Robbie Keane's goal against Germany in the World Cup in Japan all over again. It wasn't identical, but it was pretty close to it.
Yeah.
And also a model of, Ireland have been trying to play tiki-taka for the past 4 or 5 years with very little success. This time they got bodies forward, belted it forward, and created enough chaos to get the goal. But incidentally, I don't know, it hasn't been said enough, the quality of Parrott's hat-trick. The first one, the penalty, a language misunderstanding between him and the ref. He was waiting for a whistle that never came. The second one, the chip was absolutely sublime. Messi had been proud of it. And the third one, completely different, just that indescribable instinct that the best goal scorers have. I just moved myself 1 foot to this side because that's where the ball's going to be, and there he was. Actually, a really, really brilliant hat-trick. Also, let's be a little bit of sympathy. We're all football fans for Varga, who will never score a better goal in a more important game and finish on the losing side. Yeah. And for Dominic Szoboszlai, who I thought was magnificent throughout. There were times when I thought they cloned this fella. He cannot be the one heading the ball out of his penalty area and the bloke taking the corners. Yeah. But it was. I felt sorry for him by the end.
It's true what you say, though, with that winner. Somewhere up there, Big Jack will be doffing his cap to that winner. Certainly.
Very much so. I told you so. Whatever that is in Geordie, he'll be saying that, won't he? Yeah.
Thanks, Danny. We'll catch up with you next week.
Cheers. Yes, you will. Cheers, men. Bye.
There's Danny Kelly there, back on domestic matters, of course, as we go game by game next Monday. We're going to talk a bit of WSL. Another weekend. The big guns of women's football, Andy. Arsenal and Chelsea having a funny old season,
Chelsea
aren't they?
are just not firing properly. I don't know what's happening there. They seem to be able to get one goal in a game and that's it.
Both held to draws at the weekend, that and all the other fallout from the women's game at the weekend. Shabana Hearn joins us for a chat very shortly. We're here, of course, with our good friends at Toolstation. You can check out Toolstation's unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation. Now, get ready to kick off 2026 in style, Andy. Well, you can't enter, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Just trying to be inclusive. As talkSPORT and our mates at Virgin Atlantic are giving you, it'd be a bit off if you won, wouldn't it? Giving you, sitting there, champagne in Virgin Atlantic there in the lounge. Nice. They're giving you the chance, not Andy, to win an incredible trip for two to Las Vegas. You'll kick off things in style, exclusive access to the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse at Heathrow, fly upper class comfort, lie flat beds, premium service all the way. Once you touch down, you'll check into a spa villa for 4 nights. Cheer from the stands as the Raiders take on the Chiefs. And we'll be throwing in 5,000 cash to play with while you're there. Not so bad. So clear your calendar. It's 2nd of Jan to the 7th, 2026, because this could be the greatest start to a year you've ever had. Good luck.
21 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text at £2 plus standard network rates. Bill payer's permission required. Or call 03434239761. Calls are charged at standard rate. All entries must be received by the 28th of November at 4 p.m. This is a network promotion. Run across talkSPORT, Virgin Radio UK and Talk. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
We're going to reflect on the weekend of the Women's Super League now and more matters women's football with our very own weekend breakfast co-host Shabana Ahern. Hi, Shaban.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Yeah, it's a funny old season so far. Maybe we're seeing that bit of a power shift to Manchester, certainly with City, and with Arsenal and Chelsea not being quite at it.
I mean, the fact that Chelsea have dropped points to Liverpool when Liverpool were screaming out for a point, I think just shows that the Champions League is starting to kind of take its toll now on those clubs who qualified. Manchester United will be fuming that they dropped points in the fashion that they did against City at the weekend. But other than that, they're going strong in the Champions League. But yeah, I mean, fascinating season so far. Certainly the most interesting in quite some time.
Yeah, because Chelsea keep dominating, so obviously everybody wants somebody else to win it. But City have an advantage because they're not playing in Europe, as you say. I was fascinated, though, by the United manager. It's Mark Skinner. He never gives the other team, Paul says I don't do either. He never. I'm not a professional manager. He never gives the other team any credit at all. I mean, they got hammered, didn't they? 3-0 is a big result. I don't know. I didn't see the game, so maybe it wasn't a 3-0, but, in the end, that's what the score was.
Yeah, they weren't good enough. I mean, their poorest performance all season. They've played a lot better than that, so I actually can completely understand Mark Skinner's frustration. United were poor, but you got to hand it to City, the way that they're playing, the team that they've got, the squad that they're building. And yes, they're without the Champions League football. They can just focus on the league. I'm not surprised that City are top at the moment because they've been building for the last couple of seasons. And I feel having missed out so narrowly the way they did in Champions League football last season, that actually it'll help them at this point now. United should be thrilled for where they are in terms that they've made it to the Champions League, but their squad, Andy, is threadbare. I mean, they've had no recruitment, not enough coming in the summer, and now it's starting to hamper them. Yeah,
there's something up with Chelsea too. They've not been right all season. Creatively, they're just lacking in something. They get a goal. And then
are they creating chances or not? Or are they just... Is it sort of wastefulness?
Well, it didn't sound like they created a lot. I think there are a couple of chances they're going to, aren't they? But they're not scoring more than one goal in most games.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, my sister and I, we just did the kickback there, and we were discussing that. Even though Chelsea have like a stellar star-studded squad, I don't feel we've seen a star performance from them yet in the league. I agree, Andy. I think there's something missing there. Can't put my finger on what it is. And apart from this weekend there, it doesn't matter that they're not playing stunning football or they're playing pretty football. They find ways to win. Chelsea usually do that, and they probably will find their way back into it. But now there's 3 points off the top. I would say, that's a major concern for them. And yeah, they haven't captivated me the way they have done maybe, say, under Emma Hayes.
I watched the North London derby. It was a shame it couldn't be, because of the boxing, it couldn't be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which would have got a much bigger crowd, I'm sure. But still, it was a bit backs of the wall, a bit Rorke's drift from a Spurs point of view. But Arsenal were just so wasteful. They had 13 shots, only 4 on target. Olivia Smith sort of laid one on a plate for Blackstone. She stuck over the bar. You could see her frustration. It was just... they had a lot of chances. Spurs defended well. They were organised, and there were some big saves by the keeper, but they should have done a lot better, really, Arsenal, with the chances they had.
They should have done. They'll be raging. I mean, the fact that they've dropped this many points already, it's another season for Arsenal not getting their bread and butter done properly. You know, they should be focusing on the league. They should be there and thereabouts at this time of the season. And it just gives me flashbacks to what happened last season. You know, they were in this position. Rennie did turn it around. You've got to give her that. And then they win the European Championship. You know, they go on, they win the Champions League, and I think it maybe put a plaster over what was actually a big wound maybe at the club. I don't think they've been getting it right. Something's still missing. You can see it from the performances. I even look at, it feels like there's a never so slight changing of the guard maybe at Arsenal just now. You look at the players on the pitch, you look at the subs that Rennie Slagers is making. You know, I think it's something doesn't feel quite right. You know, I think even you look at the likes of Katie McCabe, who's been, you know, such... and not even just an attacking player and a goal scorer stepping up in big moments, but then she's coming off, she's getting hooked. Yeah, she was on a yellow yesterday, but you know, she can, I think, control herself in those moments. You know, she's getting substituted a lot earlier than usual this season. The Beth Mead situation, Chloe Kelly's not starting a lot of games. I don't know. And obviously there's something going on in the midfield, and now they've just lost Katie Reid, who, you know, was a very good replacement and had done well coming into the back. And now she's gone out with an ACL injury. Leah Williamson should be back soon, which I think will be a massive boost for the team.
And just finally, London City Lionesses, we should keep an eye on them because, was it 70 new players? They're starting to bed in now, it seems, and they got a big win against Villa. And you wouldn't be at all surprised they're sort of troubling the top four because they're getting a bit of a head of steam up, a couple of away wins.
This is their plan. I mean, they want Champions League football. Michelle Kang put it out there. The players are confident in putting it out there as well. They're building a really, really good side. Maybe they can get champion. Everything's possible, I suppose. The rumour going around just now is that Trinity Rodman, out in the NWSL, they've just won with Washington Spirit, of course, owned by Michelle Kang, is that Trinity Rodman is going to come to London City maybe in January. Daughter Dennis Rodman. Yeah. So, and what a player she is as well. Absolutely incredible player. So they are just now looking and going, who do we want? Who's going to cost us a bomb? Go get them. I mean, she's got cash to burn, Michelle Kang, and she wants to win. So, I mean, you look at teams like West Ham, you know, they got the first points on the board yesterday. They needed that. But at such a big club who have been around women's football for a long time, I don't feel they're getting the investment. And if they had someone like Michelle Kang pumping a bit of money in, they'd see the results sooner. But, I mean, London City, pay what you want, they'll get what they want. And, you know, people want to play for them. So, Champions League is possible for them this season, that's for sure.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Shabana. Catch up with you soon.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Their Weekend Sports Breakfast co-host Shabana Hearn there, looking back on the WSL weekend. Lots of live WSL commentaries to come throughout the season on talkSPORT. We're going to be chatting to Danny Cowley next, who had a bit of a troubled journey with his Colchester team to Warsaw, but pulled off a big result. Andy Brassel will be asking the question, should Portugal leave Cristiano out if he can only play one game at the World Cup? That and other questions answered. A bit of Italy as well with Andy. Some big. Steve Harmison pops in as we build up to the Ashes. That's all to come. We'll discover why Colchester United may be taking taxis to their remaining away games this season after Will Hobbs with the sports headlines.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Score a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Thank you, Paul. Good afternoon. It's now reality. The YouTuber turned boxer with a handful of fights to his name has landed a night with Anthony Joshua, 19th of December in Miami, confirmed 8 3-minute rounds with 10-ounce gloves. Here's our boxing commentator, John Rawlings.
But I think anybody expecting a good fight, I think they're looking at the wrong thing, because it ain't going to be a good fight. If this is on the level, I think that it's a hopeless and potentially dangerous mismatch.
Some breaking news. Billy Gilmore is not involved in Scotland training ahead of their crucial qualifier with Denmark. After England's perfect record in their World Cup qualifying campaign, talkSPORT's chief football anchor Adrian Durham thinks Morgan Rogers is now favourite to start in the 10 shirt next summer.
Me personally, I would prefer Jude Bellingham to have the shirt. I think he's just a far better player. I love Morgan Rogers. Hasn't done anything wrong. I think Cole Palmer's struggling to get on the plane, if I'm honest. I've thought this for a while now. He's played 64 minutes under Thomas Tuchel.
England have 2 friendlies next year before Tuchel picks his squad in May. England's rugby players, meanwhile, will face South Africa and Argentina in the first part of the new Nations Championship next summer, which will replace summer tours and the Autumn Nations Series. Lawrence Delalio told talkSPORT Saturday's pummelling victory against the All Blacks meant Borthwick's building something very special.
There is a clarity in their performance, there's an identity in their performance, and more importantly, Gabby, and we all know this in sport, if you don't play well, it doesn't matter who you are, if you don't deliver a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performance, you will be replaced by someone else in the squad.
And despite being out of Friday's first test alongside Josh Hazlewood, Pat Cummins was seen bowling with venom in the nets in Perth. For all your Ashes content featuring Darren Gough and Steve Harmison, subscribe to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and the following on podcast feed.
talkSPORT News.
Human rights laws will be overhauled as part of government changes to the asylum system, and cold weather alerts have been stepped up. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Today it's raining tyres in our centres, including top-notch brands like Pirelli. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Some showers in the far north and near North Sea coast, otherwise cold and dry.
You think Pat Cummins might bowl in the first test? This is kidology.
All the time. I'm absolutely convinced he'll play in the first. He might
in
not,
the first test.
Well, if he's bowling in the nets with venom and they haven't got Hazlewood and they're a bit short of bowling,
he might just. Well, the thing is, if he gets injured again, he's out for the rest of the series. It's too much of a risk.
Maybe.
Anyway, Steve Harmison's popping in a little bit later on. We'll see if he's quite as cynical as Andy is. And Travis Head and Ben Duckett have got a bit of a thing going on. They have sledge, personal sledge they do to each other. We wonder if Harmy ever found himself going down that road. A lot of you have been getting in touch to tell us your favourite sandwich, as Andy expressly asked you not to do that. And we'll bring you the best of those later on. But every football manager will tell you that it's all about the right mental and physical preparation for a game of football. Turning up in good time, turning up in the right way. So probably getting up to the Midlands in atrocious weather, then having 2 flat tyres, you would have an excuse, wouldn't you, as a gaffer, to turn around and say, well, it was difficult for the boys.
Yeah.
But not a bit of it. Colchester United went to a table-topping Walsall, got a 2-0 win, despite all that happening to him. Danny Cowley, the Colchester manager, joins us now. Hey, Danny.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yes, we spend all this time worrying about getting the players' heads right and preparation, yet you had to take them off the coach, put them all in cabs and get them the last stretch to get to the ground.
Yeah, this is it. Pretty much everything that could go wrong in the lead-up did go wrong. So we went into the game without our 9 and 10. So Jack Payne was injured. Young Mike Mbeek was away with England under 20s. So that wasn't a good start to the week. And then Friday, actually, we call him Rushy because he looks like Ian Rush. So our driver Rushy had a tooth infection, so he couldn't travel, and we only found this out on Friday morning, about 2 hours before we were due to meet the coach. So then we had to find a new driver. Then while we were trying to find a new driver, we were told that there was a problem with the tyre, so that we had a flat tyre on the coach. So this put us probably about nearly 3 hours behind our schedule, because where we are in Colchester is kind of deep, dark Essex. We're a bit off the beaten track. So we normally train en route. So we were actually scheduled to train at Wolves. Because obviously we were playing Walsall. So we ended up having to get Nancy Hayes, who's our football ops lady. She drove an 11-seater van for the first time in her life with some of the kit. Dino, our kit man, drove the other van with the rest of our kit, and that allowed us to take one of the meet points out, so that we all met at Brampton Hut to basically gain an hour back to the time that we lost. So we overcome that on the Friday. Trained at Wolves. We got to Wolves. It was like a monsoon. Thankfully, the Wolves women's team were training in their dome, which is a beautiful facility. My daughter plays for Arsenal in England, and so I know some of the guys there, and they allowed us to share their dome. So we managed to stay dry, at least when we trained on the Friday. But then woke up Saturday morning thinking all the problems had been behind us, and then pretty much an hour before we were due to get on the coach and travel to Walsall, we were told we had another flat tyre. So we ended up travelling in about 8 taxis for a taxi company in Birmingham.
So all the boys are in their tracksuits, are they? Heading to the ground, all the bags in the back of the car. I mean, what are the cabbies made of it all? This fleet of Walsall cabs that just suddenly turned up.
This was it, yeah. So it was. It wasn't a normal preparation, because what is the saying? Failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Yeah.
Literally everything that could go wrong off the pitch went wrong. Thankfully, everything went right for us on the pitch, and football never ceases to amaze.
No, it's amazing. What are the chances? 2 flat tyres in 2 days. I mean, what about after the match? Was that okay?
Well, thankfully we got home. We got home pretty safely on the way home, so no further problems on the way home. No, just a few bits to navigate around, and we always like to try to take excuses out of the players, really, because footballers are footballers. They're pretty good at making excuses.
Yeah.
If you give them one. So we're always pretty meticulous with the way that we plan and prepare. So it wasn't ideal, but we managed to, as I say, navigate around it.
When you were chatting to the players before kick-off, did you sense it had bothered them, any of this? They weren't quite at it or weren't quite as focused because of all the preparation, or did you feel that hadn't really made a difference?
Well, Nicky, obviously, my brother who I work with, he wanted to tell the boys that it was sabotage from the Walsall supporters, and that you can use this as a motivational piece. But no, we didn't do that. But our boys they're pretty good boys. At Colchester, we're a small club. We're up against it. We talk a lot about a job and a half. So everybody does a job and a half, whether you're a member of staff, whether you're a player. And, even after the game, I was laughing with our captain, Tom Flanagan, as he was sweeping the changing room, because we always try to leave the changing rooms in a better place than we found them. So the boys are very good, to be fair to them. They're not, sometimes we take young players on loan from the Premier League clubs, and they can come in and they've been pampered, and we have to quickly tell them that this is not quite how it works here, and this is the reality of League Two football. So, I don't mind that. Like I said, we like to try to look after the players and give them the best possible chances of being successful, of course. But I never like the players being pampered. I just think it softens them, and that to me is never a good way to prepare for high performance.
I mean, to play Walsall are flying high and go there and win 2-0. I saw Matt Sadler saying you caught them on the hop a little bit. You went 5-4-1. You'd not played it before. They hadn't prepared for it, and it took them a while to adjust. And by the time they did, it was a bit too late.
Yeah, well, credit to the players, because obviously the game plan is the game plan. And it's easy to put a game plan together. It's much harder for the players to commit and to implement, particularly when it's quite a long way away from what we normally do. So, yeah, like I said, we had no Jack Payne and no Micah and Beak, who are two really important players to us. And we normally play a 4-2-3-1. And without those two in 9 and 10, obviously it's not such an effective formation for us. And we knew that Walsall, statistically, they're a strange team because they're obviously top of our league, but they have the lowest possession in the whole of the 92 clubs at about 35%. And actually, every time that they have more than 50% possession, they lose. So they also are very good against back fours, particularly possession-based back fours, because they're very good at pinching and punishing and winning the ball high and going to the goal. So we kind of closed down our build. We played a lot quicker into the attacking half. We played with a back five, and yeah, they play a 5-3-2 formation with 2 9s and 2 8s that run the half spaces really hard. So we decided to just adapt what we did, and like I said, the game plan was the game plan. It was the players that deserved the credit, particularly with the preparation not being ideal, and then the way they were able to implement what was quite an unfamiliar game idea was credit to them.
And finally, you're going to have to do this every week, aren't you? Or well, every other week away from home. Cabs, a little fleet of cabs and tyres. You'll be letting the tyres down yourself.
Well, this is it. When I spoke to Robbie Cowlin, he was quick to ask me who had paid for the taxis, and thankfully the coach company had agreed to do that.
Good.
Because I don't really been too happy if it had to come out of his pocket, because unfortunately for him as the sole owner, pretty much everything comes out of his pocket at this football club. And you know, he's in a position, actually, he's looking to sell the club. He's been here for 20 years. He's been a brilliant custodian, but just feels like probably he's run his race and is willing and ready to hand the baton over. So we're obviously looking forward to seeing what the future brings for Colchester United. It's a brilliant club. We've got a fantastic academy. We're very lucky in Essex. It's a hotbed for football. There's so much young talent in Essex. So, yeah, we're really excited about what the future could bring this football club.
As long as it doesn't come out your January transfer budget, that's the important thing, Danny. Good to talk to you as always. All the best.
Lovely
Thanks
to
very
speak
much.
to you guys. You take great care. Thanks, man.
Brilliant.
Danny Cowley, the Colchester United manager, on the planes, trains and automobile nature of their top-of-the-table win against Walsall. Now, the latest episode of 21 Minutes to Go, the podcast with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy's out now. The soon-to-be award-winning podcast full of all sorts of nonsense, oddities and stuff that's too rude for on air. This week, the boys chat confessions, close calls, and we hear about Cundy's desire to have the tail of a pig. Right? If you fancy spending 21 minutes of your life listening to Andy and Jason, go and enjoy 21 Minutes to Go, available now at your favourite podcast provider. Harmy joining us for a chat ahead of the Ashes. We'll build up to our special show on Wednesday, which he will feature in along with Darren Goff. But before that, we'll have some big questions to pose to our European football expert, Andy Brassel. Should Cristiano not be in the Portuguese squad for the World Cup? We'll tell you why we're saying that in a few moments' time. We're here with our very good friends at Toolstation. You can check out Toolstation's unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade deals, and that's next stop, Toolstation. Time then to look at some of the other stories from around Europe, from the World Cup qualifiers, as always, with Trans-Europe Express. Very own Andy Brassel. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, fellas. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. You're not too bad. Yeah, I've got this conspiracy theory that Gianni Infantino can't even contemplate a World Cup finals without his beloved Cristiano Ronaldo. So he'll take a leaf out of his old mate Donald Trump's book and offer a presidential pardon. So he's able to start. He's only have a one-game ban. Was it really that violent, that elbow? Just give him one game. He got that out of the way last night. So, I mean, if I'm wrong and he's going to miss 3 matches and 2 in the World Cup, do you have to question whether it's worth picking Cristiano for potentially one game?
I mean, they will pick him just to
well, I know that.
Really surprise you there.
Yeah.
But that was great chat for Roberto Martinez. I'm sure we'll be sure to put it to him in the months to come. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a compromise and he misses, say, the first match of the World Cup, for example, because there's always a discretionary element to it. But I guess the remarkable, not remarkable thing that happened yesterday is that Portugal, having wasted their chances to seal qualification in the last 2 qualification games, including that one in Dublin that you were talking about, they had to make sure against Armenia in the last game. And it may sound a weird thing to say when they won 9-1. They had a little wobble in the first half. So they go 1-0 up early on when Renato Vega scores the opening goal. And then they concede a just terrible equaliser from there. And then really Armenia gift them a goal back to make it 2-1, which Gonçalo Ramos scores. And at that point, they really start to unload on them. 5-1 up at the break, 9-1 by the end. Hat-tricks for João Neves and for Bruno Fernandes, which I think underlines the fact that if they're going to score goals without Cristiano Ronaldo, it won't necessarily be a Cristiano Ronaldo replacement that does it. Nice as Gonçalo Ramos is, and of course the fact that he's not going to play every game between now and the end of the season, so he's probably going to have plenty of puff left when it comes back to the World Cup, which will definitely help. But of course, again, it brought up the idea of if you're not focusing on this one guy, and you've got so many other ways that if you're playing Portugal, there are so many ways that they can get you. And of course, they were without a couple of key players yesterday as well. There was the tension and the little wobble that they got over too. I mean, you would say it's food for thought for Roberto Martinez. I'm tempted to say it's food for thought for the next coach, who's maybe brave enough to deal with it when it comes to the tournament itself. Because as we saw at Euro 2024, there was no real reason to keep picking Ronaldo in every starting lineup, but they did it anyway. And I think we see the sort of shape that teams turn up to World Cups and European Championships in, that extra burst, that extra bit of dynamism that they can get from, be it a João Neves or a Nuno Mendes, who didn't play because he's injured at the moment, and they missed him. It was from his side that the Armenian goal was scored. Then it should be up to that part of the team to do it. They shouldn't really have to wait until after this. And you wonder if Ronaldo has part in that dialogue, really.
Yeah. What about Norway? I mean, they had a great result. When you've got the best striker in the world, could they be a bit of a dark horse for the World Cup?
I tend to agree with you, Andy. I think they can go in deep. And I think it's because, we have to contextualise this game against Italy. It was a great night for them. They really deserved it. They won all of their qualification games. And it was a big Norwegian party in Milan. But they played quite poorly in the first half. Italy were really good, I thought. And then they just came out second half and really grabbed it by the horns. As soon as they got the equaliser from Antonio Nusa, they were away. Holland scored 2 in a minute plus, which kind of sealed the deal. And you're right, having a striker that ruthless, it's hard to think of any teams out there who do have that. Not even England, in the form that Harry Kane is in. If you had to have someone have a chance to save your life, it would be Erling Haaland, wouldn't it? There's no doubt about that. And I think the thing is, they don't need to have a better team than anyone else. They don't need to be better than anyone else in any game on any particular given moment. He just needs to get a chance. And then that changes everything, really, in knockout football. So, I mean, obviously for them, it's a great source of joy because they haven't qualified for the World Cup since 1998, in which they beat Brazil, of course, in the last group game of that. But this is... I think this is a unique opportunity, really. You look at the age he's at, you look at the form he's in. If he turns up fit, they've got a chance, I don't think to win it themselves, but to ruin it for someone else who could win it.
Yeah. On to Italy then, who are condemned to the playoffs once again. And Gattuso's got a huge job, their coach, to get their heads right because they've been burnt in playoffs before. All the pressure's going to be on him and the team.
Would this be the third World Cup?
Yeah. And this, I mean, that's him. He'll be, if they don't win this playoff, if they don't go through, I mean, he knows he's out of a job as well. A lot of people think he shouldn't have got it in the first place, but there's a lot of pressure on Italy, isn't there, in the playoffs, Andy?
Yeah, there really is, Paul. And, I don't think Gattuso's really the main character in this, to be honest. As Andy was saying, like for Italy, one of the bona fide giants of world football, to not qualify for 3 World Cups in a row, particularly win the European Championship in the middle, it would just be absolutely unprecedented. But they really failed to build on that European Championship victory, which was so positive under Roberto Mancini. They've still got the players there. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've got players to be competitive, not necessarily to be winners, but to be competitive. But it was something that Gigi Donnarumma said afterwards. Firstly, he said that was unacceptable, what happened in the second half. And he said it shouldn't be that we have a little setback and all of a sudden we absolutely fall to bits. And he's absolutely right. I don't think it feels as if there are enough leaders in the team. I don't think there's enough guts in the team. Now, on the other hand, we have to say they do have a few players out at the moment. There was no Sandro Tonali because, of course, they didn't want him to get the booking, which would have kept him out of the semi-final of the playoffs. But I think if you look at the teams they could get, of course, Italy will be a top seed. And as it stands, the bottom seeds will be Sweden, Romania, Northern Ireland, and one of whoever falls into third from Wales and North Macedonia. North Macedonia have done them at this stage of the competition before, so they definitely won't want to face them. Sweden, you're probably facing what you were talking about with Haaland before. You're probably facing Isak and Gyökeres in decent form.
Yeah, they have got Graham Potter there, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? What a great new manager's start. Tremendous.
Actual new manager bounce.
Well, look, if he picks those two, he's making a decent start, isn't he? Like we were saying, it's not even about being the best team on the night. You think of that game where the playoff semi-final where they went out against North Macedonia. They had 30-plus shots that night, and North Macedonia had 2. And they still lost. So it's what's living in their head. It's less what they're capable of doing and more them worrying about what might actually happen.
Finally, Andy, we've got a shootout for top spot with Germany and Slovakia tonight, haven't we? I mean, Germany aren't home and hosed yet. We could see them. It's unlikely, but it could be a nervy old night for Germany. You reckon there's some stuff going off the field at the moment that could be a bit of an issue?
Yeah, there is. So Julian Nagelsmann, with all the questions he could have been asked in the press conference before this game in Leipzig against Slovakia, where they have to get a point, he was asked about Karim Adeyemi, the Borussia Dortmund forward, who emerged over the weekend has been fined £450,000 for possession of illegal weapons, including a knuckle duster and a taser. And he was asked about this, and he's like, honestly, I think this is way above my pay grade. I don't think I can answer this. And I think that was the best possible way to sidestep it. But obviously, it's the last thing they needed at the moment. Now, in terms of teams being a bit fragile and freaking themselves out, Germany are in that spot as well. You know, again, there's loads of talent there, but they're so rampantly inconsistent. They were really awful, actually, away at Luxembourg. They won 2-0. Nick Voltemade, who is the real bright spot, was brilliant. He scored twice. In fact, there was this editorial in Kicker at the weekend saying, you know what, I think he might actually be worth 80 million euros, which, you know, you never expect German football to say. So given everything that Voltemade has had to put up with since he moved to Newcastle back home, remember he got booed at the last home game, really because he costs so much money, and that's repellent to a lot of German football fans. It's a very different attitude to money in German football to what it is in the UK, for example. The fact that he's able to get on with it, Voltemade, and just say, none of this affects me, I'll just turn up, play my game, improve, score my goals, bingo. I think that's a huge plus for them, because if they had not just more players of his quality, but more players of his character, I think they'd be home and hosed already.
Nice one, Andy. We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Andy Brassel there, of course, is one half of Trans-Europe Express with Danny Kelly. It's on every Sunday night. We just scratch the surface there, of course. We do every Monday with Andy. For the deep dive into the world of European football, whether that be club or country, then you need to listen to the boys on a Sunday night. Or if you can't do that, it's available as a podcast, thankfully. So wherever you get your podcasts or on the talkSPORT app, go and check out that deep dive into the world of European football with Danny Kelly and Andy Brassel. That's Trans-Europe Express. We're going to talk about rugby next. Archie Curzon pops in to see us, comedian and rugby fan. Fantastic result for a very entertaining game, Andy. We both watched, didn't we? Very entertaining match at the weekend against the All Blacks. It's been a bit of a fallout over the haka, as there always is. So we'll chat to Archie about that, and Harmy. Steve Harmison pops in to see us ahead of the Ashes. That's all to come.
After England's perfect record in World Cup qualifying, talkSPORT's chief football anchor Adrian Durham reckons Morgan Rogers is now favourite to start in the number 10 next summer.
Me personally, I would prefer Jude Bellingham to have the shirt. I think he's just a far better player. I love Morgan Rogers, hasn't done anything wrong. I think Cole Palmer's struggling to get on the plane, if I'm honest. I've thought this for a while now. He's played 64 minutes under Thomas Tuchel.
England have 2 friendlies next year before Tuchel picks his squad in May. Meanwhile, former Ireland winger Stephen Hunt's told us Sunday night in Budapest will have done wonders for the team's spirit, and he means the drinking.
The young generation of Irish players don't go out anymore, so for them to have a moment like that and celebrate success like they did last night, apparently. I've seen some videos on social media. It's good for them, like it brings them together.
Ireland are into the World Cup playoffs thanks to Troy Parrott's hat-trick in Hungary. Now we're told Middlesbrough are trying to hijack Swansea's move to appoint Kim Hellberg as their new manager. Borough have held talks with Hellberg and Raphael Wicke this week about replacing Rob Edwards. And ahead of the Ashes, Aussie bowler Scott Boland admits Joe Root is the man they need to keep quiet. Brendan Doggett's in line to make his Test debut on Friday, with Hazelwood and Cummins both out injured. Boland says Doggett has real skill.
He's like a fast outswing bowler, and he's someone who can bowl really long spells, bowls a lot of overs. When he's playing for South Australia, he tends to bowl, I don't know, he can bowl 20 or 25 in a day.
For all your Ashes content, subscribe to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and the Following On podcast.
Autumn International's review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle, the team you can trust with your business finance. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Time to recap on last weekend's Autumn International action with Funding Circle. And we're joined in the studio by a comedian, podcaster, massive rugby fan, plays a bit himself. Archie Curzon kind of turns himself up to 11, I think it's fair to say, for much of his work, including the Rig Biz podcast, which has been very popular. It's featured lots of top names from all sports, not just rugby. But, lots of top names have been on the podcast before. But he is a massive rugby fan, so very timely that we get him in after an England win against the All Blacks. Hi, Archie. Good to see you.
Lads, thank you so much for having me. This is perfect because I was actually in the Ned just before this having a client lunch, so it's just a hop, skip and a jump over here.
Now, I mean, you're a city boy, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
You earn a very good living in the city. You love your rugby. You play rugby.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's really, it's all about the rugby lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, look, I absolutely love my ruggers. I live in Clapham. I used to play for the Clapham Falcons, which is one of the best semi-professional rugby teams out there. I'm sort of regarded as one of the best to do it. I could have gone pro, but then there was so much money in the city, and I've been in the city now for about 15 years, but prior to that, I had a gap year in Canary Wharf. And sort of that really turned my head. It's good to be here. Now, look, I don't miss a game at the Allianz Stadium. I love going to watch England. I sort of count myself as the Allianz captain. You know, when you hear Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, that's me. I'm starting that. I've just got to learn the second verse. But yeah.
When I went to Twickenham for a night international, there were a lot of fellas like you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that's a compliment. Is that a compliment?
No, not really.
No, I mean, look, it's a wonderful place to do a bit of BD, business development. It's a real corporate jolly, and we like singing our hearts out. We've got Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. We've got England, and we've also got Heave. They're the the classics. So did you get involved?
No.
Next time you come with me, we'll do some bum funnels.
When you've interviewed the great and good of rugby, Kenny Logan, James Haskell, loads and loads of people. I mean, what do they make? I mean, I imagine you're as a person, as a type, you're probably quite familiar to them, I would.
Yeah, look, they're heroes of mine, and you know, I like to bring, you know, I've got the 3 C's. I like to keep, you know, my chassis in good nick. Have good chat and make a lot of coin, and a lot of these guys got that in common. So we find common ground. James Haskell, personal friend of mine, you know, he's a man that his chat's like a bloody machine gun. He just does not stop.
So let's talk about the hacker show. There's been a lot of fallout from the fact that we had the V. Jamie George put the V together to face it down.
There was a rumour going around that England had been fined, but I can't see anything about it. I mean, that would. Are
you a fan of the hacker, Archie, or not?
Yeah, look, I love the hacker. When it comes to town, I wouldn't miss it, and I love everything about it. I love, you know, the performance element, but also I love when the crowd get involved. They're sending a challenge to the boys. And the boys are laying it down, but also the crowd getting behind it. And, you know, at the moment, the best thing is that England started to play some bloody good ruggers. And Twickenham, or Allianz Stadium, has never been so loud. So his correlation a couple of years ago is absolutely dire. You know, it's just a load of guys having beers, being quite quiet, because the rugby was pretty poor. But now we're on fire. It's coming home.
Yeah. It's been a big turnaround for Steve Borthwick, isn't it? Because it wasn't a lot down for him about a year ago, but it has been. What's the secret, Archie, as a man who loves his rugby?
I'm not really sure, because I don't know if you've heard him speak. He's pretty boring, but I think he's got the right staff behind him. He's got the team are. There's a lot of depth now in the team, so people can fill in, and I think there's a bit of belief. And like I said, when you're playing at home and the crowd believe, they're sort of like a 16th man. So. Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't want Steve as my CEO in my business. I'd fall asleep. Actually, I have a daughter who's named after my 2 favourite rugby players. She's called Johnny Jono, after Johnny Wilkes and Martin Johnson. And I actually sometimes play her recordings of Steve just to get her down, you know. So,
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Now, you must be a fan then of Henry Pollock, who takes a bit of stick.
Yeah.
But he is, I mean...
He was terrific.
He was fantastic the other day. And they were a bit worried about him in the hacker as well, that he might break ranks and wind them all up. But he didn't. He behaved himself.
Well, he was licking his lips. So look, I love everything about this guy. This is what rugby needs. They need a bit of personality. For too long, they've had, you know, the Red Trousers Brigade. Don't get me wrong, they're good to connect with on LinkedIn. But on the pitch, we need a bit of oomph. And he's bringing that. And the energy when he comes on is wonderful. And I love everything he's doing in the game. You know, you've got to be a figure out there to be either loved or hate. That generates interest in the game, and rugby bloody needs it. You can't rely on just my chat.
No. Do you own a pair of red trousers?
Oh, I own several pairs. But, you know, when I go to Twickenham, I like to wear my sort of light blue jeans, my 2003 England rugby shirt, a Barber jacket, and some brown shoes. Bloody well. You can't beat it.
Do you go along to the Cheltenham Festival? I imagine quite a lot of that garb would transfer quite nicely at the Cheltenham.
Yeah, I was there last year. Yeah, I love going down to Cheltenham. I went to school there, Cheltenham College, and I was the junior school. My dad, actually, the big guy, he'll be watching this. I haven't seen him in about 10 years. But Dad, I've made it. He dropped me off at boarding school at the age of 7, and I remember he said to me, "Boy, don't you cry," and I haven't cried since. I'm very, very happy.
You sound very well adjusted.
Yes, yeah. No, it's good. Whenever I feel down, I just scream in the mirror to myself.
It's not left a deep impact on you, which is good. So your Rig Biz podcast we talked about, is that finished now, or
no? It's very much alive. We've got the good, the great. We've had Ben Stokes, Stuart Broad, all your rugby players, some musicians. Unfortunately, Chris Robshaw. But again, I play that to my daughter and she falls asleep as well. Good guy, very good friends with Chris Robshaw. Big shout out to him.
And you're doing some stuff with Matt Dawson, I understand.
I've done a few bits with Matt Dawson. Going to probably try and do something for the Six Nations. But a lot of those guys, the 2003 World Cup winners, I've become quite familiar with. So yeah, they've been on my podcast.
Yeah, and you've popped up on my TikTok.
Yes, thank you very much. That means a lot. I mean, this is a real honour to be on this show. And actually, there's one guy in my rugby club. Can I just give him a big shout out? Harry Daniels. We call him Simba just because his dad died when he was younger. But I'm here, mate. I've done it.
Well, Archie, it's been lovely to meet you.
Boys, thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really grateful.
I feel like we will speak again.
No,
we'll turn you on rugby matters because we feel like you've got the pulse of the average Allianz rugby fan.
I'm that guy you see in the pub calling all the players by their first names. So if you ever want to come and watch a game in Clapham, and I could just guide you through it. But listen, we should definitely connect on LinkedIn.
That's where we'll reach out. So, Archie, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Where can we find you on social media?
I've got my Instagram, Archie Curzon. I don't know what the handle is. I think it's _Archie Curzon. TikTok, LinkedIn. I'm very big on LinkedIn. Very active on there. Do a lot of statuses there. This morning I was talking about the weather. That's a great way to open up on an email. So all those good stuff. LinkedIn also I use as dating app as well. But I mean, it's great for business.
And the Rig Biz podcast still going strong, and you can go and check that out wherever you get your podcast. Archie, thank
you very much. Cheers.
Coming up next, Steve Harmison pops into the studio. It's Hawksbee and Jacobs with Toolstation and their unmissable deals. Great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation.
Autumn International's review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle. Proud sponsors of Prem Rugby. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. On Wednesday, got a special cricket show for it, the Sixes Cricket Bar. It's a lot of fun there. We've been there before. Darren Goff's going to join us. Steve Harmison will be joining us. They're going to have a go in the nets as well. Comedian Felicity Ward and Jared Kimber holding up the Aussie end. And the Barmy Armour will be popping up as well. So I hope you can join us for our Ashes launch show on Wednesday from 1 p.m. Harmy has popped in to see us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Afternoon, gentlemen. How are we?
Yeah, we're
excited.
Chatting to our Aussie boss earlier on. You can feel the nerves in him. We see a lot of him when they're winning, but he avoids us when they're losing. But so he says he's going to come up win or lose. But how are you feeling as we get that little bit closer? News about Josh Hazlewood?
Yeah, I mean, it's excitement. I mean, it really is excitement. I think, this is what you play for.
Yeah.
What you are remembered for as a cricketer in England or in Australia is you took all these franchises, all these white ball tournaments, and they're all making money and you make great money. But when you finish, you get described on talkSPORT, on whatever platform, as double Ashes winner.
Yeah.
This is you. How many Test matches you played? How many runs or wickets you got? How many times you beat Australia, or how many times you beat England? How many times you won the Ashes? And this is what it builds up to. Mixed memories of first morning, as we all know.
Yep.
But the pressure that goes into it and the preparation that you have, these boys will be ready. Yes, they haven't. Looking from the outside, they haven't had the greatest of preparation when it comes to volume of games, and I think everybody's got their opinion of that. There's no doubt in my mind that Ben Stokes' team will be ready for Australia when they get to the Optus Stadium come, Thursday? Was it Thursday morning or Friday? Friday morning.
Friday hours, yeah.
It's on how the first ball in an Ashes test often sets the tone. It's only one ball, but it seems to make a difference.
It makes a massive difference. But it doesn't make a difference, if you know what I mean, without contradicting myself. Like, we go back to mine. It's like in Brisbane, it had no relevance on that series whatsoever. Me bowling the first ball to second slip, Andrew Flintoff being captain, and possibly not Andrew Strauss being captain, made no difference whatsoever. England lost 5-0 because we weren't very good. I said the other week, I think, to Manners on our show, it was like the gulf between the two sides that I played in Australia. So England against Australia in 2002-3, 2006-7. I mean, the gulf was it was wider than the wide ball I actually bowled in Brisbane. It was ridiculous. This series is different. This series,
it feels closer.
Closer. And yes, it does have a little bit of bearings on the sort of momentum of that first morning. But I think over the course of the series, I don't think the first ball makes a great deal of difference.
We've seen the first look at the pitch this morning. You can't judge too much. It looks very green at the moment, but it's 33 degrees there. You'd imagine it's going to be drier than it looks at the moment.
Yeah, I think what you always find now with these modern grounds of unbelievable drainage system. Yeah, every pitch that you go to, apart from subcontinent, even in England, they'll look like the outfield 2 days out. Because the ground staff have got to keep the moisture in, because once the test starts, they can't put any on. So there will be green, but I would imagine by the time we get to first morning, it will look a lot more like a cricket pitch than what it does at this moment in time, which is looking like the outfield.
Because England's attack, it does look like they're going to go with 4 seamers and Stokes, which does seem a bit overkill. Can't they just have 3 seamers, Stokes and a spinner? Gives you a bit more of an option, doesn't it?
It does in theory, but this could be the first time we've seen, I think, not a retraction or backtrack by Stokes and McCullum, but when you look at, they've had all eggs in one basket, haven't they, with Shoaib Bashir? And whether you think it's the right option or the wrong option, it's the option, because that's what we've had.
He's away too many runs for me.
Exactly. And I think if he does that, Andy, then all of a sudden Ben's bowling becomes more important. So if Ben's bowling becomes more important, then the volume of overs goes up. If the volume of overs goes up, the pressure on his body, gets more of a challenge for Stokes. And like we've seen, in the summer, a 5-test match series against India, Ben played in 3.5 test matches. If he plays in 3.5 test matches in Australia, we'll lose. I mean, we're not good enough to play to go without him. So I think what that 5-man seam attack gives us, it gives us a little bit of pressure off Stokes' bowling, and it also still gives us.
As soon as it's looking at, then he brings himself on and he'll bowl till he gets somebody out.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem.
That's what he does.
But he can then go and then he can go back to being captain and still have 4 other seam options. If he's got 3 seam options and a spin bowler who he can't trust the ball in the big series.
And he has to
go back to himself. And I think that is, for the first Test match, I think that, and the second Test match, because it's going to be as probably seamer friendly as well, because it's a day and night game. I think that'll be the balance, I would imagine, of the attack.
With the Hazelwood issue at the moment, it's looking like he's going to make the first Test, and he still thinks Cummins might, but it seems unlikely. But on the basis
with venom in the net,
he's bowling nicely.
5 days out. You don't think he's going to turn up?
No, it's going to be a chance for Brendan Doggett, who I saw Jason Gillespie talking up, saying he'll be fine, he'll be good, he's ready. Yeah, you said he was at Durham.
Yeah, he was at Durham at the start of the season, and I was with Ryan Campbell I was with Mark Snow on Monday and Ryan Campbell on Wednesday, and they speak very highly of Brendan Doggett, especially Campbell. Campbell was really enthusiastic about how good Doggett was when he was at Durham. And at this moment in time, if you look at Sheffield Shield cricket, probably the most informed batter going into the Test series is Marnus Labuschagne, who's had 200 or 300s. Brendan Doggett's had 5 in his last 2 games. So he is in, if you're going to pick somebody for a debut, a little bit like Scott Boland a few years ago.
And a confident lad, because obviously the pressure's on, isn't it?
Yeah, the pressure's on, but he's not 21, he's 30. He's nearly, I think he's nearly 31. So
well, they're all 30.
Yeah.
Don't pick anybody under 30.
He's an experienced player, and I think he's not Josh Hazelwood. Yeah. He's not Pat Cummins, but I actually think with Hazelwood and Cummins, well, Cummins will definitely miss, and Hazelwood's just been ruled out. This puts England under a little bit more pressure to win this first Test match. Yeah. So the preparation, all the noise around the preparation comes in magnified, because if England don't win the first Test match, then Cummins and Hazelwood can be drip-feeded in to the series as and when they're not under pressure from Australia's point of view, the scoreline. In 2005, when we won at Edgbaston after McGrath stood on the ball, he had to play at Old Trafford and he wasn't fit, which meant he missed Trent Bridge, which then gave us a great chance going into obviously to win the series. If England are to win, then they might have to make them decisions a bit quicker and get Cummins and Hazelwood back in. But if they don't win, and then they go down the back end of the series, Australia are going to get stronger as the series goes on, because Cummins and Hazelwood will be available.
Just finally, we know you're mates with Mark Wood. I mean, I don't want to betray our confidence, but what's the word as far as you understand?
It's just soreness. It's always going to be soreness. He hasn't played in a match since February, March. It's all right bowling in nets. It's all right sort of bowling in the middle and bowling a tent at Loughborough when you've got a feel for 60, 70 overs. Body stiffens up and it's soreness, and I think that's all it is. I don't think there's anything more to look into that. I don't think you'll play in this Test match, but hopefully, if there is a chance that we do potentially rest Jofra Archer, it wouldn't surprise me if Mark's ready for that second or third Test match. They might keep him for Adelaide because it'll be flatter in Adelaide. They might need a little bit more pace, so they might rethink things and have Mark Wood ready for Adelaide, and which I think will be a massive bonus. But I think he will play a Test match, if not 2 Test matches, over the 5.
You mentioned Glenn McGrath there. He's going to say it's only going to be 3-0 this time.
Yeah.
Which is a bit strange, because that would mean 2 draws and then no Test matches are drawn these days.
Unless it's going to rain in Melbourne and Sydney. Glenn's gone a bit soft, hasn't he? He's got a bit soft. I mean, Bumble's the only one that shouted 5-0 to England, but no. I think what Glenn's saying there, 3-0, I think that tells you everything about how close these two sides are. Yeah. Both got the vulnerabilities, and I think that's what's going to make this series an absolute humdinger.
Well, we'll have a more leisurely chat on Wednesday at 6. Definitely. You join us with Goffey and everybody else, so we look forward to that. All the Ashes content, you could subscribe to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and the following on podcast feed. And as I said, Wednesday, special Ashes preview show from 6. You're in with Leon McKenzie to record another When the Lights Go Out. When you look at, you speak to ex-sports people, reflect on the troubled times sort of post-sport, and it's Dean Windass you're chatting to today.
Yeah, Dean Windass. We talk about how deep the show is and about troubles that human beings have, not just sportsmen and women. Larger than life character, got loads of great stories. Had a few troubles, and hopefully we'll put together a good show, have a good chat, and there'll be a lot of people who followed Dean Windass's career throughout, and hopefully we'll see the side of him that possibly wasn't shown to the people who used to pay to watch him play football.
When will that be available, Harmy?
I think that's going out. I think they're going out at the end of the year. I think there might be end of the Ashes, but this is our 4th recording. Hopefully we get 2 more into the can, and once we do that, we'll put the series out, and I think that's series 5. So looking forward. I'm really looking forward to having a good chat with Dean.
Yeah.
So is Leon. Because he's got some good stories to tell.
Absolutely. The previous 4 series available via the talkSPORT app and wherever you get your podcasts. It's really interesting, listen, so go and check those out. We'll see you Wednesday, Harmy. Thank you very much.
Look forward to it, boys.
Steve Harmison there, building up to the Ashes, still to come this afternoon. Phil the Power Taylor joins us. How'd you stay at number 1? Luke Littler has made it at the summit in 2 years, which is pretty amazing. But the power was there for years, so we'll be chatting to him. And Troy Deeney reflects on England against Albania yesterday. That's all to come.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Good afternoon, here are your sports headlines. Good afternoon, these are your sports headlines. It is the show to end all shows. Is it an insult to high-level sport, a danger to human life? Either way, it's happening. They're calling it Judgment Day, but they've misspelt the word judgment on the Netflix poster. They've left out the E. Jake Paul will have a heavyweight fight with Anthony Joshua on December the 19th, if the date is right, in Miami. It'll be 8 3-minute rounds with 10-ounce gloves, and our commentator, John Rawling, says despite it being a dangerous mismatch, he's not going to miss it.
Well, I quite hope for Jake Paul's long-term well-being, that he does see it as a bit of a sparring exercise before going on to fight Tyson Fury sometime in 2026, if indeed that does happen.
In the cricket in Australia, meanwhile, Pat Cummins is bowling off a full run in the nets despite being ruled out of the first Ashes test in Perth. It gets underway on Friday. In rugby union, a brand new International Nations Championship will replace summer tours and the Autumn Nations Series from July. England will travel to South Africa and Argentina, and Ireland will go to Japan and New Zealand. Speaking of New Zealand, Lawrence Delalio says England's demolition of the All Blacks has laid down a considerable marker.
South Africa is still the number one side in the world and they're ahead by some distance, but England now, I think, confidently can say that they're heading up the chasing pack. I was really excited by the performance. It's a real breakthrough victory for this group.
Well, George Ford shone in the number 10 shirt at Twickenham, but in Thomas Tuchel's team, there's even more chat about the number 10 shirt, with Adrian Durham saying Morgan Rogers looks to be first in the queue. 8 games, 8 wins, no goals conceded in qualifying. Simon Jordan is over the moon as expected.
Well, that was the reason why Tuchel was brought in. I don't recognise it about to change. I'll only recognise it when it happens, because until he plays a team that we shouldn't beat, all of this is just gravy. It's background noise.
talkSPORT News.
The government wants to overhaul human rights laws to make it easier to deport illegal migrants, and the chairman of the BBC has told staff Donald Trump has no basis for a defamation case over the edit of a Panorama doc. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Breaking news, Billy Gilmore has been ruled out of Scotland's game against Denmark, and Harry Wilson will captain Wales against North Macedonia. The weather, some showers in the far north and near to the North Sea coasts, otherwise cold and dry.
Power on talkSPORT. Check out Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
It's time now for today's Bet Builder with our friends at Paddy Power. We welcome Fern Buckley. We're going to look forward to tonight's World Cup qualifier as Northern Ireland take on Luxembourg at Windsor Park in Belfast. Good afternoon, Fern.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you both?
Not bad. We've got a bit of a delay today. I don't think you've not moved.
Again.
Yeah.
Not again.
Oh, look, we'll soldier on.
Yes.
Just probably worth explaining how the Bet Builder concept works, Fern.
Yes. Overall value. Paddy Power put a tenner down on it, hoping we get it right. Because if we do, all the winnings go to the charity, the Attitude Foundation.
OK, I'm going to go for a Northern Ireland win. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but they'll get the job done, and they're still very much in the mix, which is all very exciting because we could see all the home nations and the Republic involved. So let's be positive. A Northern Ireland win tonight.
Yeah, they've only lost one of their 8 previous matches against Luxembourg as well. 4 wins, and they've never lost at home to them, so that's a good sign. Whereas Luxembourg make the trip to Belfast, having won just one of their last 17 matches, 7 defeats in their last 8. So, yeah, a Northern Ireland win is a popular one, and that isn't at 4-6.
You do see a couple of goals at least.
Oh, yeah, I think that. I mean, Luxembourg are minnows, aren't they? Right?
I could see a 2-0, a solid 2-0.
2+ goals, I'm going.
Yeah, 2+ goals. Well, there does tend to be goals when these two teams play together. In fact, there were over 2 goals scored in the last 5 of their 7 meetings. A 2-2 draw in November last year, a 3-1 victory for Northern Ireland back in September as well. So over 2.5 goals in this match, is in at 5-4.
Okay, an Isaac Price score any time, says producer Sean.
Yeah, he's Northern Ireland's joint top goal scorer in the current World Cup qualifying campaign. Only 2 players in Group A are averaging more shots per game than him. Obviously, West Brom's leading goal scorer in all competitions as well. So for him to score any time is in at 3-10.
I'm not sure about this one. The people, your most popular bet with Paddy punters, is both teams to score. I don't see.
I know. This one makes me a bit nervy as well because Luxembourg, along with their poor form, having scored just 1 goal in their last 7 games, it's a bit worrying. But it was the reverse fixture against Northern Ireland, these two back in September, where they did get that goal. So I'm guessing that's why 500 people have that in their bet builder this afternoon on Paddy Power, and that is at 6-5.
And with your in-depth knowledge of Luxembourg football, Fern, you've gone for Daniel Sinani to be shown a card.
I have. Look at me and my knowledge of Luxembourg. He's only one player in the entirety of European World Cup qualifying. He's been booked on more occasions than him. He's received 3 yellow cards in 4 appearances so far. What's one more tonight? For him to be shown a card is an 11-4.
So what are the odds then if these all come off?
It all comes in at about 31.5 to 1. So from a £10 bet, you can get a return tonight of 326 quid. And if we get it right, which I have a good feeling we're going to do it, it all goes straight to the Attitude Foundation.
We're going to put the winnings on me getting a job on Radio Luxembourg.
Yes, that's right. Bring that back. Thank you, Firma. See you soon.
Does it
See
not
you guys.
exist anymore?
Cheers.
Is it on anymore? I think
don't
it is,
know.
isn't it? I'm not sure.
Fabulous.
Right, sorry if you're kind of work. I doubt it, Andy.
I once went there.
Did you
The
really?
studios,
Wasn't
yeah.
it on a boat? Did you have to swim there?
No, I went to Luxembourg on a school cruise. Not a school cruise, a school trip.
Who had the school cruise?
School trip.
That's the sort of school Andy went to. They had a school cruise. They'd chuck us on a coach, stick us on a ferry and take us to France.
It was a football tour to Luxembourg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How'd you get on?
I think the match was abandoned because our sports master, the ground that we were playing in was a proper ground, was locked. So he decided to go over the wall to let us in. And he sprained his ankle, and I think he had to be carried off. And I can't remember. I think the game got played.
These things only happen to you and your school. It doesn't happen to anybody else. They just play the games. They come home from Luxembourg.
I remember
Anyway,
we pitched tents on a sort of moving ground. It was quite odd.
So you started off at the top of the hill and then you finished at the bottom.
And when we woke up, you were in a completely different position.
Anyway, that was Paddy's Bet Builder for today. Minimum odds 1 to 5 per leg. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Andy was he thought he had listened to another radio station the other day.
Yeah.
And the question was, what's your favourite sandwich? Now I know it was doing it. I think there is an element of self-knowledge and self-knowing in the person that was doing it to know it's just a bit of fun. I don't think anybody's...
Yeah.
They're not treating it as seriously as maybe you would, Andy, or the listeners who tell us jam and onion. That's weird.
That's horrible.
Sausage with red and brown sauce. And just some of the sandwiches you've been telling us about this afternoon.
It's filler, though.
Yeah, but, we've all been accused of a bit of filler now and again, haven't we?
Try not to.
Yeah, I'm sure, Andy. And talking of which, you number all of you. Have you got some news stories today you want to run past us?
Well, I've got a new Reader's Offer trouser, which fascinates me.
Oh, okay, yeah, not filler.
Yeah, it's the warm fleece-lined men's water-resistant trouser.
It's good.
Quite a useful item.
On a wet, cold day, you'd feel the benefit, wouldn't you?
But it says, stay warm and dry all year long.
Wow.
I'll tell you one thing.
Not wearing them in August.
I'm not wearing warm fleece-lined men's water-resistant trousers.
The chafing could happen, couldn't it, really?
Definitely not. And Mel C.
Yeah.
She was at the finish with Sarah Cox when she did her mate. It was amazing, let's be honest. It was
tremendous work, effort,
by her. And she did an absolute classic Lennox Lewis. Where is it? She referred to herself in
the third person,
yeah, in a very strange way.
Person.
And oh yeah, here it is. She says, "It's incredible what she's achieved. I can't wait for her to cross that finish line. Could Sporty Spice have done it? I'd like to think so. But that's you. What you shouldn't say is, could I have done it?
It's her. Do you not have an alter ego, Andy? I wonder what
I certainly wouldn't refer to myself in my auto.
I wonder what you'd call yourself. Corned beef and brown sauce, says Gav, the Everton fan.
No,
so you'll be surprised.
I wouldn't call myself that.
That'd be quite good. Ham and tomato, says Ian, the Devizes town fan. Do they sell that at Devizes, I wonder, at half-time? Quite possibly. We'll leave those now, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of you have been weighing in on the Jake Paul fight, of course, against Anthony Joshua. Frank Warren will be joining the boys on Drive, as well as Dave Allen, who was on commentary duty, doing fine work for us at the weekend, actually. He has a future in that. When he does ultimately hang up his gloves, he was great value. So Dave will be popping up, and you'll get his thoughts on that and the fight at the weekend. And promoter Frank Warren with his thoughts on Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, which we've made it pretty clear we're not massive fans of. Stephen Leighton Buzzard, Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury, who on Box Rec is rated as the 67th best cruiserweight in the world. Sadly, it feels like it's going to take a life-changing injury, even, God forbid, a fatality, for the boxing powers that be to stop allowing this kind of fight to happen.
It won't be that sort of fight.
Awful news for the sport of boxing and more ammunition for those who want it banned. These are the sort of concerns that I have.
No, I agree.
Steve, as someone obviously like you who likes boxing. Few people, I mean, this is from Brent, who says it will be a £70 million dance.
There's an element of that.
There is an element of that. But anyway, you can get your calls into the Boys on Drive, and also, as we said, Dave Allen and Frank Warren will be weighing in on that story.
You know, you have to hand it to Jake Paul. He's quite clever, isn't he? He's made enough money out of it.
Oh, yeah, no, he certainly has. I don't deny that. I just don't think you should. I mean, look, he's got himself into good shape, and if he's fighting 47-year-old ex-world champions or maybe other YouTubers or, maybe the MMA fighters who've packed up, that's all fine, but just don't get in the ring with someone who's still got a little bit of juice left in the tank, and that is the concern.
Well, it's a different level, it's true.
Yeah.
Good bit of column fodder for you here. My favourite columnist. It's only a short one. She says, anyone that starts a column with, or a parrot like this, what's with the rise of popularity of massive dogs? Means there isn't a rise.
No, they've all been they've been popular for years.
A recent report states there are more dogs than under 5-year-olds in London, and many of them are huge. It used to be that a trendy mutt was small and cute, poking out of a Miu Miu bag.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Or a fluffy cockapoo.
You are.
Thanks. Around my way, it's massive hounds such as Weimaranas, Great Danes and German Shepherds, which are paraded around by fashionable couples sipping their matcha tea. Not true.
Not seen that. Not seen that at all.
It's not true.
Has she actually got a dog? I'm doubting.
Probably not.
Brie bacon and caramelised onion, says Phil in Liverpool. So just some of the sandwiches you've enjoyed this afternoon, and you've sent to us just to annoy Andy, who thinks it's no good. Anyway, we were chatting about Sarah Cox there. We're going to talk about another incredible endurance feat in a few moments' time. Sam King is taking on just 74 ultramarathons in 74 days.
Hey, Sarah's a sprint, really.
He has quite...
Couch to 5K.
He has quite the story and quite the turnaround in his lifestyle that's led him to this point, and he's doing it for a great cause. He'll tell us more in a few moments' time. Then Phil the Power is going to join us to talk about Luke Littler reaching the world #1. It's the art of staying there, of course, that Phil can tell us about. What's the secret? And Troy Deeney on England, that's all to come before Andy and Benty on Drive at 4. But we're here, of course, as always, with Toolstation. Unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands at Toolstation. Next stop, Toolstation. Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Phil the Power Taylor joining us to talk about Luke Littler's rise to number one in the world and some of the tips for staying there. But before that, our next guest switched from a pretty sedentary lifestyle, 12 hours a day playing Call of Duty, to becoming incredibly fit and taking on 74 ultramarathons in 74 days. Before we chat to Sam and find out why he's doing this, let's give you a flavour of what Sam King's up to, where he's up to in his challenge.
Day 51 of running 74 ultramarathons in 74 days for my mum and for Headway UK.
I'm just getting a lot of irritated pain that's really uncomfortable, and my fear is there's a stress fracture building.
I genuinely feel like I'm on the verge of the whole challenge just coming to an end. I'm back down on the coast, back in Frinton. This has been a tough day. I have a knee injury that feels the same as a previous knee injury that I had a few years ago. I got a fracture in my knee. It was from overuse, but it didn't happen during that race, but I got a pain after that race. And at the end, my knee gave way. And right now, I have exactly the same knee pain. So we are 46k in. I'm really excited for this day to end. It just isn't enjoyable running when you're on the verge, but you feel like you're on the verge of a bad injury.
Yeah, wow. It's a pretty incredible challenge. And Sam King joins us now. Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. Wow. I'm just going to ask, because the ultramarathon is a bit of a movable feast in terms of distance. What distance are you covering 74
It
times?
is. Yeah, I'm 31 miles a day is what I'm running. So anything from about 50 kilometres, 31 miles a day is usually considered an ultramarathon.
That is amazing.
The before and after pictures of you, the transformation is quite incredible. As you got very good at Call of Duty, but it came at a price to your physique, possibly, and your well-being. But you shed a lot of weight and went out and made yourself incredibly fit. What was the catalyst for that, Sam? What was there one moment where you thought this can't go on?
Yeah, I've had sort of three phases of my life. The gaming phase, which was quite intense, number one in the world on Call of Duty. The weight loss phase that followed, where I lost 7 stone in about 6 months. And then the running phase that I'm now in. So you could say I've got an addictive personality. And I'm just now at least applying it to something a little bit healthier. Well, some might say a little bit healthier to sitting down and gaming all day behind a screen. But no, it was sort of leaving home really that triggered it for me. I left home to get a job in London after messing up my entire education from playing computer games. And so I had sort of a lot of pressure on my shoulders to make something of my life without an education or a degree. And I moved to London quite overweight and a bit lost and looking for a job. And I remember looking in the mirror one day and thinking, I think you really need to sort yourself out. And part of that was, finding a job, and part of that was losing weight. So, just immediately decided that was what I was going to focus on. And I just sort of changed my ways, started exercising more, started eating less, started drinking less, or at least drinking differently, like sort of moving to spirits from beers and just things like that. It just fell off. Within, like 7 months, I'd lost about 7 stone.
I mean, to get to number one in a game like Call of Duty, it's not to be sniffed at. I mean, think of that, millions of people who play it. That's quite an achievement, even if it's just an odd achievement.
Is it a bit triggering if you go back now? No pun intended. But do you play it now? Can you play it now without taking you back to sitting there for 12 hours a day?
No, I haven't played it for a long time. And the last time I tried, I was absolutely terrible at it. And I thought, right, I'm not even going to go there because I don't like being bad at things. I have to get as good at them as possible, as quickly as possible. But there was about 6 million people on the leaderboards when I was number one. It was 12, 18 hours of my day sort of dedicated to playing it constantly. And it was quite exciting. It was a thrill. I loved it. I'm fiercely competitive, always have been. So I really enjoyed the gaming phase, but it was a very unhealthy phase, and when I came out of it I was in a really bad way in terms of mentally, and I was really insecure of my body and how big I'd become, and like I said, I messed up my education. So thankfully I eventually found running, and I've channeled everything into that, and that's had a really positive impact on my life, and I did eventually get a job in London, and here we are.
Brilliant.
You've taken on this challenge, the 74 ultramarathons in 74 days, Project 74, for Headway UK, the brain injury charity, and it's a charity close to your heart. Tell us why, Sam.
It is, yeah. So 29th of January this year, my mum collapsed in my arms in this house, actually, at home in Frinton-on-Sea, where I grew up, with a bleed on the brain. And she'd been a very, very healthy woman her whole life. She was mid-70s, but as healthy as can be, got her step goal every day, always active, never sat down, never been to hospital.
Wow.
And so it was a big, big shock when she collapsed with the bleed on the brain. And we actually went to hospital that day and were told that she wouldn't make it through the night and that we'd sort of sit with her in a cider and wait for her to take her last breath. So it was the worst day of my life. I absolutely adore my mum. We're really close, always have been. And yeah, the sort of 3 to 4 months that followed after that, I was sort of seeing mum in hospital. I was working my job in London. I was training for different events running wise, and it was just too much. It took its toll on me. And yeah, I had a small break in South Africa where I was doing an ultra marathon actually, and I decided there and then that I was going to leave my job the week that I got back, and I was going to run an ultra marathon every day for 74 days, one for every year of my mum's life before she fell ill, and to raise money for Headway, the brain injury charity who had helped us through the process of her being really ill in hospital this year.
So where are you at in terms of the challenge? And I mean, we heard there you've had a few injury issues. What's the current situation?
Yeah, so I'm on day 52, so I've made a dent, but it hasn't been without its challenges. The first 2 or 3 weeks, my body was really rejecting what I was doing. And actually, I had quite a few injuries in those first few weeks. I was sleeping really badly. I was ill for a couple of days, and it was very difficult to push through those days. But this is obviously means a lot to me, what I'm doing, and managed to get through them. And actually, ever since the first 2 or 3 weeks, like my body's really adapted into it. I sleep really well, and I wake up quite fresh. It's incredible. Like what my body has now, how it has evolved and developed, and sort of got used to what I'm doing. But yeah, in the last few days, I did have an all too familiar pain come through my knee, and I've only ever had one running injury, and it was a stress fracture in the exact same knee. So that has been very unsettling. And yesterday it was particularly bad, but I've been out today, and it wasn't as bad, which is the trajectory that we want to be on, because if it was a bone issue, it probably would persist and get worse constantly. So I'm hoping it isn't, and I'm hoping I can keep going. But yeah, today was a good day.
You're looking to make £74,000 in keeping with the Project 74. So where can people support what you're up to for Headway?
So I'm putting most of the story through Instagram. So if people search for me on Instagram, search for Sam King, I should come up, or Fatboy Sking is my handle. Obviously used to be a big guy, and I'm also a fan of Fatboy Slim, so I thought that might be quite a catchy, memorable handle. So yeah, Sam King, Fatboy Sking, Instagram is where I'm putting everything out and telling the story.
Okay, and is there a sort of Just Giving page or something like that where people can donate directly?
Yeah, the link to my fundraising page is in my bio. So as soon as you go on my page, it's one of the first links that you'll see.
Right. Well, we'll put a link out to it via our X feed as well. So, Sam, we wish you well. Keep up the good work, and good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Sam King there, Sking, Sking. If you want to go and check that out and find him, it's some transformation, isn't it? As he said, addictive personality.
74 days in a row.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Incredible.
Amazing. Anyway, so go and check that out. And the best to Sam, raising money for a very good cause. We wish his mum well. Phil the Power Taylor joins us next.
After England's perfect record in World Cup qualifying, talkSPORT's chief football anchor Adrian Durham reckons Morgan Rogers is now favourite to start in the number 10 next summer.
Me personally, I would prefer Jude Bellingham to have the shirt. I think he's just a far better player. I love Morgan Rogers, hasn't done anything wrong. I think Cole Palmer's struggling to get on the plane, if I'm honest. I've thought this for a while now. He's played 64 minutes under Thomas Tuchel.
England have 2 friendlies next year before Tuchel picks his squad in May. Meanwhile, former Ireland winger Stephen Hunt's told us Sunday night in Budapest will have done wonders for the team's spirit, and he means the drinking.
The young generation of Irish players don't go out anymore, so for them to have a moment like that and celebrate success like they did last night, apparently. I've seen some videos on social media. It's good for them, like it brings them together.
Ireland are into the World Cup playoffs thanks to Troy Parrott's hat-trick in Hungary. Now we're told Middlesbrough are trying to hijack Swansea's move to appoint Kim Hellberg as their new manager. Borough have held talks with Hellberg and Raphael Wicke this week about replacing Rob Edwards. And ahead of the Ashes, Aussie bowler Scott Boland admits Joe Root is the man they need to keep quiet. Brendan Doggett's in line to make his Test debut on Friday, with Hazelwood and Cummins both out injured. Boland says Doggett has real skill.
He's like a fast outswing bowler, and he's someone who can bowl really long spells, bowls a lot of overs. When he's playing for South Australia, he tends to bowl, I don't know, he can bowl 20 or 25 in a day.
For all your Ashes content, subscribe to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel and the Following On podcast.
Yes, you probably don't need telling that it's time to talk darts now. And it's hard to believe, isn't it? Only a couple of years ago we came live from Oki for the launch of the Paddy Power World Championship, and Luke Little had just won the World Junior Championship. We had a chat with him that day, Andy, didn't we?
We did.
2 years ago, and there was a feeling he was going to do something at the Worlds. He was a bit of a dark horse, say 2 years on. He reached world number 1 at the weekend, which is some achievement. Getting there is one thing. Staying there, of course, is something quite different. Phil the Power Taylor holds the record for being world number 1 for the longest time overall, 3,351 days. He held it on 8 separate occasions.
Amazing.
He joins us now. Good afternoon, Phil.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Making me head as big as my belly, you are.
It's true, though, isn't it? I mean, Luke, he's done phenomenally well in a short space. Did you ever see him being quite as good as he is in such a short space?
Oh, definitely. 100%. It was only a matter of time before he was number 1. That was never in doubt.
What is it then about him that so impressed you?
It's just the way he is. He conducts himself. He's a lovely lad, you know. He's very quiet. He isn't like a party animal, which impressed me because he's not money motivated. And he just gets on with it. You know, he doesn't seem to be flustered, and it doesn't. You know, the limelight and everything doesn't bother him, and he just takes it on the chin and gets on with it. I think he's great. I do.
And his main rival, the two of them, has basically won every title between them, and they both. I saw them interview, and they both say it's up to other people to stop us. We are the 2 best players.
They are at the minute. They are. That is 100%. The other players now, they've got to start changing something. They've got to either change the dart or change something to make themselves a better player. You know, and I've noticed when Luke, he's a bit of a slow starter sometimes, and that's when you've got to get him. I was with Nathan Aspinall and Chris Dobie this morning. I said, look, if you want to get him, you've got to get him early doors, and then you've got to keep him under pressure. That's the only way to beat young Luke.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that if there is a kind of chink in the armour, it's that, Phil, is it?
I'd say the first 5 minutes. I mean, he was 5-0 down the other night, and he came back. You know, you've got to keep him under pressure, because I think what people are doing, they're getting in front and then they're getting nervous, thinking, oh, I've got a chance here of beating young Luke. Where you've got to treat. I used to treat him like as if it was a school bully. Right, I'm going to start hitting you back and see if you like it. So that's what they've got to do. I mean, it's a lot easier to talk about than just doing it. So, but they've got to do it. They've got to practice, dedicate themselves, and put more pressure on themselves while they're practicing. So it's like playing him in the final.
Andy mentioned Luke Humphreys there, and the two Lukes are battling it out. I mean, during your career, you played for that long. You had different rivals at different times. What was the toughest rivalry, you think? Who spurred you on the most?
I had a few, really. I mean, the beginning I had like Jockeys and Ericks and John Lowe. John Lowe was a lovely player. And then I had, obviously, Dennis Priestley came along, and then Barney came along. And then this next generation, Aidan Lewis and so forth. So I've seen like 4 different generations of them, but they're all good. Everybody's a good player, and everybody on the day. It's just the players like the two Lukes now have got to pace themselves because they'll burn out. And I've seen a lot of players, when you're playing tournament after tournament after tournament, you can get dartitis because there's that much pressure on you. That's there's 2 or 3 players now have got it. So you've got to watch what you're doing, make sure you rest up, make sure you're not going out with your mates 5 or 6 days a week and that kind of thing. It really is full-time dedication.
You were quite selective in your tournaments. Was that the reason why? Could you feel it's all getting a bit too much?
Yeah, but I got 4 kids.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? You can't keep running around here, there, and everywhere and act like a single man because you're not. But young Luke is, but he isn't one for doing it, He's the same. But Luke Humphreys has got responsibilities, He's got 2 children to look after, and he's a proper dad. So if that's a good thing, then you can do your practicing then and dedicate yourself.
You mentioned bullies there. I don't know if you've seen the new Bullseye, which we both are really enjoying.
Yeah.
You must have been on the original one.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, did the Christmas show a couple of times. One with Frank Bruno, one with Steve Wright, from Steve Wright in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah, great, Steve Wright.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, Freddie's doing a good job, actually. It's fun to have it
different.
back.
It's different from Jim, but it's good.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know if have you caught it yet, Phil?
I'd have to answer the questions now, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think they've made. I think they've made they've made them a bit easier.
That's not true.
So, how'd you stay there? I mean, there probably is. You get to number 1, there is a target on your back. There was a target on his back before because everybody wants to beat him, but still, number 1 is number 1. So, did you feel that when you got to number 1, you felt everybody was gunning for you even more?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, you get disliked for it. You get a lot of jealousy. Of course you do, because you're the one winning all the money, keeping them from earning a good living.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wins £1 million and it's January the 3rd, the players will hate him. Of course they will.
It's true.
But they all want to be him.
And you gave us a bit of insight into the secret of staying there, maybe, being a bit selective and not running yourself into the ground. Any other tips for staying at number 1, Phil?
Much rest as you can, because with darts, it's mainly eyesight. It's like if you've been on a computer all day, your eyes are tired. Yeah. So you need as much rest as you can. And prepare. Roy King said, "Prepare to fail, fail to prepare, prepare to fail."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's easy. It's a lot easier. It's not easy being number 1. I mean, but it's a lot easier to get up there. It's harder to stay up there.
Yeah,
of course.
As you've seen football teams over the years.
Absolutely, yeah,
dominate.
That's right. And are you you still out there playing exhibitions and stuff?
I don't even have a set of darts now.
Really? Wow.
But I do personal appearances. I do chats and that kind of thing. Motivation. I was up at Glen Eagles last week, doing like a motivational thing, just the questions and answers basically, asking you, how did you start and what did you do and how did you dedicate yourself and how come you were so good. But it really is. There's no secret in any sport. It's just about hard work and dedication.
And you don't miss it. You don't miss picking up a dart at all and having a. You haven't got one. Haven't got a dartboard at home. Wow.
No, I enjoy getting bed about 7:30. No. I had 30 years of being on at 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I'm all right now.
Good stuff.
Brilliant.
Good to talk to you, Phil.
Wake up about 4, put my YouTube on, catch up on all the highlights of all the sport. I love it.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying life. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate
You're welcome, mate. Thank you.
All the best. There we
Bye,
are.
lads. Bye.
Phil the Power Taylor there with a few tips for Luke Litton. And congratulations to him because, You've kind of seen him that first time we met him 2 years or so ago. Very shy, understandably.
Yeah.
But he's kind of
got a great
attitude. He's got far more relaxed in the last couple of years, and he's great value. That's actually all the players at the moment, all the top guys, because we had a run of guys on the show every week,
really good,
and
good
they're a good bunch. So yeah. Well done to Luke Littler. It's a pretty amazing story for a lad of his age. Troy Deeney joins us next. We're going to reflect on England. What did we learn from the England performance? A few people agreeing with Andy that the pile-on Jude Bellingham is all a bit much. Let's maybe kick off there when we chat to Troy Deeney in a few moments' time. We're here with our very good friends with Toolstation. Don't miss their unmissable deals. Great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation.
Tuchel was brought in with one thing in mind: to deliver the World Cup. Can they end the campaign by winning every game and conceding none?
Proud of the players, what they did. We're proud of what we achieved together. It was 3 amazing camps.
And turned over the line by Kane!
That man again, Harry Kane. That's why you don't want to take him off the pitch.
There was a bit of expectation on this game, I think, from ourselves to finish strong and finish in the right way, and that's exactly what we've done.
Kane, 2-0. Great ball in from Rashford. Harry Kane came to meet it.
You can get a red card and it can lead into the World Cup, so just be careful. If there's a 50-50 decision, don't take it to even save the clean sheet.
And England's campaign ends as it starts with a 2-0 victory against Albania, the conclusion of a perfect World Cup qualification campaign.
I got almost emotional. I had to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to these players, and I don't want to.
2025 has been superb for England. Bring on 2026.
He was positively beaming last night, Thomas, so he couldn't stop smiling when he was talking to Gabriel Clark.
It's gone well, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it has done. Of course.
It's the proof of the pudding was when we played decent teams like France, Brazil, Argentina, Spain. Those are the teams that we're going to be battling with.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, and we've not had a lot of top level competition, have we? I mean, but there's not much you can do in qualifying. That's true for everybody, really, unless you get a bit of a rogue group. Anyway, let's hear from Thomas Tuchel. He spoke to talkSPORT after the 2-0 win over Albania last night, and he was asked about Jude Bellingham's frustrations about being taken off.
First of all, I'm not so surprised, but Morgan Rogers wanted for sure to start today and didn't, or Phil Foden. So I don't want to make too much out of it. It was still in a framework that we can accept and everyone can accept, but it needs to be respectful also towards the guys who come in. His friend is waiting outside to come in and make an impact. So all good so far.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's good that he says I don't want to make too much of it, which is important because you don't want to take the edge off of the player, and he's obviously disappointed because he loves playing for England. So,
and he's such a brilliant player, and he is the way he is, and you have to accept that. It was interesting though that he swapped his shirt at half time with the player, which I never like to see.
I didn't see that.
Tuchel said afterwards, I don't like to see that. I didn't know who it was. He said it was Bellingham, but you just saw one of the Albanian players with an England shirt, or him with one of the England players with an Albanian shirt. And you think, why not just say, because often these players come up to the stars and say, afterwards.
We'll do it afterwards.
Do it afterwards.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't want to offend him.
He's a big player globally, plays for Real Madrid. And at the moment, he's under the microscope. There's been all the stuff that he said to Adrian and Stuart, of course, and those comments that got a lot of publicity. So they might think, arrogant Bellingham doesn't swap shirts with lesser player. So there's another headline there.
It's a tall poppy syndrome pylon. That's what it is. We've
had a few emails about that
in this
today.
country to our great players, and they have to get through that.
Yeah,
that's the only way it is. He's always going to attract controversy because he's a spiky character.
Yeah, that's the nature of the way he plays. Footballer. I mean, I listened to Adrian's comments, and you can listen to the talkSPORT Daily podcast where Adrian Stewart and Jim Proudfoot do a bit of a post-mortem on that game and look back at qualifying. But Stewart was saying he thinks Morgan Rogers is going to start. I mean, I tend to think there's a few games still to be played.
I don't. If you've got a player like Bellingham, a world class, I love Morgan Rogers.
He did point out that he thinks Bellingham should start, but he believes.
I don't think he will, but we'll see. Because the games in March will be important because they will actually, you'd imagine, be against good teams. Because otherwise, what's the point of them? You've got to arrange. They've still got to arrange those fixtures, but you need that. And it wasn't all perfect though. I suppose a lot of it was experimental. I couldn't see the point of Adam Walton taking corners from when you've got the best in-swinging corner taker in the world. Why would you do that? I couldn't quite work out what that was about, maybe just for the future.
It's tough on those sorts of guys.
I thought Stones ended up having the ball far too much in forward positions and couldn't do anything.
He got caught out with it a couple of times. I mean, he's done that for City in the past, but he did get caught a few times.
But there was an experimental feel about the whole thing, and Kwanzaa had a good game, but he's not Reece James. That's not his position.
No, I thought he did well. When he looked pretty comfortable for a guy playing his first game. So,
but Rashford's in good form.
Yeah, he's got he's got his swagger back. You can see he just feels confident. He's trying stuff that maybe he wouldn't have tried.
He'll be right
Manchester
up for it at
United.
the bridge next week for the Champions League. Yeah, he will.
That's the thing. We watch these internationals and we start worrying about the situation. Players coming back fit, who's not going to make it in the next game and who is. But no, it's been very positive qualification. So
this was an odd thing where we'd regain possession like in a transition and we just slow it right up. I couldn't quite. You sort of saw the idea for control, but at times the ball movement was so slow.
Do you like Adam Wharton's miniature socks?
I like his football.
I mean, I can only imagine that his shin pads are the size of a malted milk biscuit because you can't even see him. They're like ankle socks, aren't they?
I can't see the point of that.
I mean,
really, but he obviously suits him. So
if you're some sort of hatchet man in the World Cup, you're going to be looking at those shins, aren't you? Players can't do that anymore, can they?
No, I don't think so.
Just, unless they're players that Infantino doesn't want missing games. We'll see.
Kane is in the form of his life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That first goal as well. He's just brilliant.
So brilliant, and to equal Pele, that does it shows the class of him. Absolutely. Yeah. And playing in Germany has definitely helped him. It's helped his fitness, helped him not be so. The Premier League is so exhausting.
Yeah,
that's the other problem for England, really, and other players,
lots of other teams as well. Yeah.
But I know Amelia went to see Brazil because she has Brazilian roots. Amelia Beltrão.
Yeah,
she went to
the game,
and she really enjoyed it. But obviously Brazil looking fairly ominous as well. I mean, if you think what Senegal did to England,
that's
a pretty good result for them.
Yeah, no, that is true. They're playing tomorrow night, aren't they, again?
Yeah, Tunisia, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll keep an eye on that. Our focus tomorrow, of course, will be on Scotland.
It's got to be Scotland, hasn't it?
And Wales, because they got massive nights tomorrow night in terms of qualifying. So that's very exciting. You say the prospect, we talked to Danny Kelly earlier on, the prospect of the four home nations and Republic of Ireland, all in the mix.
I was saying to you, Adam Crafton made a very good point about a US World Cup with Ireland in it is an infinitely better World Cup because of the massive Irish population.
Well, Danny was there, wasn't he? I mean, you've probably seen pictures of him and Danny Baker sweating out in the Chicago heat, I believe, watching games in the last World Cup in '94. No, the Ireland fans, and we know from the Euros in France, are fantastic, aren't they?
Definitely.
The infamous day when Matt Holland went out onto the balcony, wasn't it? It was like the life of Brian. Popped his head out on the balcony.
Oh, yeah, the cheers.
And was
incredible.
Serenaded by thousands of Ireland fans who had congregated below the window. We weren't sure were there. Anyway, we're going to be building up to the games tomorrow night for Wales and Scotland, obviously. Coming up next, though, it's Andy Goldstein and Darren Bentwood Drive. Plenty of football for them to get stuck into. We'll get their thoughts on England's performance and all the other stories from the weekend's football. And, of course, we've had a big boxing story today. We spoke to John Rawling a little bit earlier on about that. They're going to be chatting to Dave Allen, boxer who was working for us on talkSPORT the weekend. And Frank Warren will join them to give us his take on the Jake Paul, Andy Joshua fight. If you've missed any of the show today, if you've just joined us, blimey, you have joined us late. We put out the H&J Daily podcast.
I think they've come for the next show.
I think they have. But they might still want to sample ours. In which case, Danny Cowley was on good form and told us how he overcame 2 flat tyres and arriving by cab to win a big game yesterday, the Colchester manager. Archie Curzon, quite the character. A man who loves his rugby and let us know it. That was fun. And the amazing story of Sam King, who went from sedentary playing Call of Duty to from 12 hours a day.
High level, though.
Yes, to 7. He was the number 1 in the world for Call of Duty, and he now is running 74 ultramarathons in 74 days. So that's some of the stuff. And Danny Kelly eulogising about Troy Parrott, all available wherever you get your podcast. That's the H&J Daily Podcast. I'll see you tomorrow with Charlie, and stick around now for Andy Goldstein and Darren Bentwood Drive.